So we're under 15 minutes away from the first ball this evening. This Vitality Blast game, 9:14, of course. Northam Steelbacks sit top of the table. This is Lancashire Lightning, hot on their tails this evening. We are very much looking forward to it. If you're just joining us, Steelbacks have won the toss and they will be batting first. They mentioned to our guard of honour will be coming out this evening. They are made up of all-stars and dynamos cricketers from clubs across Bedfordshire and Huntingdonshire. Young players aged 5 to 11, proudly representing the future of our game. And you'll see our Ring of Steel as well, players from the Bedfordshire and Huntingdonshire Hot Shots programme, a talent development initiative designed to widen access to representative cricket, identifying potential over many months and supporting every player's growth along the way. So please, when they come out, do give them a very warm welcome here tonight at the county ground. First ball tonight at 6:30. The players are nearly ready to make their way out in just a moment. Let's take a look at the lineups for both teams tonight in this Vitality Blast. Here at the county ground, we begin with our visitors, Lancashire Lightning. Their 11 are as follows. Captain number 1, Keaton Jennings. Number 7 is Phil Salt. 6, Josh Butler. 23, Liam Livingston. Number 3, Luke Wells. 70 is Ashton Turner. 93, Chris Green. Number 4, Jack Ludwig. 14, Luke Wood. 25, Shaquille Mahmood. And number 9, James Anderson, make up the 11 for Lancashire Lightning this evening. And now let's find out the starting place tonight for Northdown Steelbacks. First up, sponsored by Cura Wealth, number 27, Ricardo Vasconcelos. Number 7, a warm welcome to the county ground for Tim Robinson. Sponsored by Nick Showers, number 75, Justin Broad. Sponsored by Comsave, captain is number 23, David Willie. Sponsored by 6, number 25 is Ravi Bapara. Sponsored by Countrywide, 18, Safe Save. Sponsored by Travelsphere, 15, Lewis McManus. Sponsored by More UK, number 2, Luke Proctor. Sponsored by Wentworth Alexander AB, it's 26, Ben Sanderson. Sponsored by Cinch, number 16, Lloyd Pump. And sponsored by Yartek, number 98, George Scrimshaw makes up the Steelbacks 11 to take on Lancashire Lightning. Our umpires tonight on field, Rob Bailey, and Simon Widder. Our match ref is James Whittaker, and our scorers, Terry Owen and Gary Morgan. It is nearly time to get tonight's match underway, but before we do, everyone at Northamptonshire County Cricket Club was deeply saddened to learn of the death of Wayne Larkins at the age of 71. Northamptonshire's 308th first-class player, Wayne, known to the cricketing world as Ned, made 716 appearances for Northamptonshire across first-class and one-day cricket between 1972 and 1991, scoring 29,929 county runs with 60 centuries. Everyone connected with Northamptonshire County Cricket Club offers sincerest condolences to Wayne's family and his many friends. Please now join us by observing a minute's silence for one of Northamptonshire's finest ever players. The silence will begin and end on the bell. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the county ground in Northampton. The players there just observing a minute's silence for the legendary Wayne Larkins. Phil Rowe, someone that you would have, I'm sure, looked up to for a lot of your cricket career.
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't see a great deal of him, and I'm really sorry that I didn't. The bits I did see were fantastic. He was a swashbuckling, dynamic batter. He was a lovely mover in the field, caught his catches as well. He bowled a little bit of medium pace, in particular in one-day cricket. But you've seen from the outpouring of comments from around the country, around the world, and around the world of cricket, that he wasn't just admired and respected, he was loved, because he played the game with a freedom and a joie de vivre, really, that translated itself into the hearts and minds of supporters up and down the country. So, yeah, I saw a little bit of him. I wish I'd seen a lot more, and yeah, condolences obviously to family and friends. He'll be dearly missed.
Yeah, very well said, Phil. Thank you for that. My name is Dan Jadzovic, joined by Phil Rowe. We have the Steelbacks taking on the Lightning in the 2025 Vitality Blast. It's first versus second in the North Group. Earlier this evening, Captain David Willey won the toss and elected to have a bat first. And the two openers, Ricardo Vasconcelos and Tim Robinson, are making their way out to the middle. Lancashire in the field. It'll be a certain James Anderson with the ball in hand from the Lynn Wilson Centre end to open the proceedings in the power play this evening. Just run you through the 2-11s quickly. Northamptonshire Steelbacks lineup as follows: Ricardo Vasconcelos, Tim Robinson, David Willey, Justin Broad, Ravi Bopara, Safe Save, Lewis McManus, Luke Proctor, Ben Sanderson, Lloyd Pope and George Scrimshaw. So unchanged since the last T20. The Lightning, Keaton Jennings, Phil Salt, Joss Butler, Liam Livingston, Luke Wells, Ashton Turner, Chris Green, Jack Blatherwick, Saqib Mahmood, Luke Wood and James Anderson.
Yeah, it's a decent side, that.
It's very good, isn't it?
You know, Northampton's a very decent side as well, but you look at that Lancashire side, 9 internationals amongst them. They've got every skill set covered amply. Tough game for Northampton, but what an opportunity.
Absolutely. It's a used pitch. It was used for the ODI beforehand. Anderson starts, gets the outside half of the New Zealand international, Tim Robinson's Gray Nichols, runs down to deep third for a single, and he's away.
But a swing there, wasn't it? We had the pleasure of watching Jimmy warm up a little bit, didn't we, before play? And he bowled sort of five balls from this end. We were kind of almost right behind it. They all swung, they all pitched in exactly the same place. The only difference was each one got a little bit quicker, and it was exactly the ball that he's just delivered there. that took the thick edge of Tim Robinson's bat. He's quite good at this bowling.
Yeah, I must admit, I am very, very excited to have a watch of James Anderson. He's got Ricardo Vasconcelos in his sights. There is a second slip in place. That one down the leg side, a cry of catch. And it's wide signalled by the umpire. Josh Butler's back for the first time for Lancashire since 2023. Phil Salt's back for the first time since the quarter-final down at Hove in 2024.
And Wood and Mahmood are back from England duty as well. And they've got, if anyone doesn't know them, they've got real gas. And Wood, particularly when he slips himself, can get it right up there, up into the early 90s.
Yeah, some fantastic pace on offer. Oh, that has bounced, isn't it?
Dear oh dear. Dear oh dear.
Wrapped Vasconcelos on the glove. So he ends up playing that quite well. Gets it down. It falls in front of Saqib Mahmood at short third.
Jeez, spat. That spattered him. A nest of spitting vipers, my old coach used to say when that happened.
Oh, I got told it played quite well earlier on in the week. Two fielders out, one on the leg side, one on the offside. Sweepers either side for Anderson. On a length, well played by Ricardo Vasconcelos for a single. Gets his account open.
This is you mentioned sort of like a free hit in a way, Dan, for Northants, in that they are top of the table. This is the strongest Lancashire side that has been out in the competition so far. It's probably going to be, in terms of names on paper, the strongest 11 that we see in the competition. I would imagine.
I would say it would certainly rival anything anybody would be able to put together. That's a cracking drive through the offside by Robinson, overpitched by Anderson this time, and hammered through the offside with disdain by the New Zealand international.
So Anderson got the outside edge of Robinson's bat first ball. That one's a little bit fuller. And do you want to drive it? Yes, I do. It ended up swinging quite late, but so full that Robinson could just put his hands through it, and he absolutely caned it.
He climbed into that. 10 New Zealand caps for Tim Robinson in the T20 format. Joining up as the replacement for the South African Matt Bretsky. He's currently on international duty while South Africa play Zimbabwe. Short this time, and that's cut away. That has flown through the offside. Back-to-back boundaries for Robinson. It's 11 off the first 5 balls. That has flown. I heard you say, oh, wow, through the microphone.
Yeah, well, it bounced about 3 meters inside the boundary. That's how far that ball went. And then it skidded into the crowd, and someone stopped it one-handed, very nonchalantly. Left hand. It was very well fielded.
It's good fielders in Northamptonshire.
There are. There's one there. Well fielded, young man.
Oh, it's gone. Straight through him. Back-to-back boundaries. Anderson with that iconic celebration picks up the New Zealander Tim Robinson for 9, and it's 11 for 1 after 6. Robinson goes early.
Well, 2 fours back-to-back. The first one a very long, full half volley. The next one short and wide. And does Jimmy Anderson ever bowl 3 bad balls on the trot? And the answer is no, he doesn't. He does this. So not only was it a correction, but it was an absolutely brilliant delivery. It pitched and ran back in off the wicket. I think it may have hit a bit of pad on the way through. It nipped back, kept a little bit low, but it was too good for the defensive of Tim Robinson. Yes, 11 off the over, but a big wicket early in the piece.
Yeah, he had 10 wickets in the competition before this game, coming at 10.3. He conceded 11 off the first 5 balls, so he was due.
Yeah, he was due, yeah. I think he's coming into this game 3 3-fers on the trot. So, yeah, he's never out of form, is he, really, whether it's white ball, red ball. And this is the gas man, pace man, Luke Wood. He trialed. He didn't trial. He was on loan at Northants during my time for a spell, and really, really fabulous young man. Very ambitious. We talked about maybe him staying with us a bit longer and playing some cricket for us over a period of years, but he had his eye on bigger things in his mind, a first division county, and there are a few after him, and this is where he's ended up, and he's done well for them.
Yeah, he has, and for England as well. Luke Wood from the David Caper lens. He's played well by Vasconcelos, well fielded by Luke Wells. David Willey was the man to come out at number 3. He'll be on strike. Interesting, Northamptonshire, the Steelbacks, through the course of the competition so far, they stuck with a left-hand, right-hand combination throughout, didn't they? They were flexible with that top 6.
Yeah.
They've gone left-hand early here.
Yeah, it is. There's a couple of changes, aren't there? I mean, that's one, that they've gone left. David Willey coming in at 3. He came in at 6, I think, in the last game.
Yeah.
I think pace on David Willey, maybe spin or less pace. Maybe Brody might come up the order, but the captain's backed himself here, hasn't he? Early wicket, I'm in against a very good attack. So he's not shying away in the middle order.
Not at all. Still Jennings in at slip on top of the bounce, drops it into the offside for a single.
Well, look, early days. It doesn't look like there's a great deal of pace in the pitch. There was the one that kind of climbed quite steeply at Vasconcelos from Anderson. That was more sort of a into the surface, disturb the surface. It didn't have a great deal of pace about it. And so far, they've played Luke Wood fairly comfortably.
Yeah, so far. Sure, he'll just be loosening up that shoulder, though. There'll be a bit more pace to come, won't there? Fielder down at deep square and at deep third as well. That one down the leg side. Appeal for catch, and umpire stretches the arms out.
Yeah, that's a pretty ever-present now, isn't it? Down the leg side, the catch appeal, or the trying to put the umpire off giving a wide. The trouble is, Rob Bailey, he's done a bit of umpiring this time.
He's read the script. He knows the playbook. Bit of gamesmanship. Nothing wrong with a bit of gamesmanship, is there?
He'd have been a handy bloke in T20 cricket, Rob Bailey. He hit the ball very hard.
Pulled away. It's gone up. I think that's safe. It is. One bounce, 4 over the rope by Vasconcelos. Didn't get all of it. Maybe just rushed him a little bit from Luke Wood, but gets his first boundary of the evening.
It's a brave ball to bowl with fine leg up. It was sort of over more off stump, I guess, and that's why it went so far in front of square. But I think it didn't time it brilliantly, but it went so far in front of square. It suggests that it's an older pitch, isn't it? So you'd expect it to be a bit slower, and I think that's all it is.
It's his first boundary, 6 or 4 for Vasconcelos. Tries to ramp it down over Saqib Mahmood at fine leg, ends up wearing it in the thigh pad.
Seen Vasconcelos do this, and analysts will be watching this carefully. A lot of time is spent on what happens to the ball after a boundary. That ball was short. The previous ball was short that Vasconcelos pulled. Vasconcelos gambled that the next one will be fuller, maybe even too full. I think it was too full. It was the right shot to attempt. He just missed it, but reading the play very well. How's he going to get out of this over 2 balls to go?
Takes the single down to one of those 2 boundary riders. So Dave Willey will have the final delivery of Luke Wood's first over to contend with.
So Northants winning the toss and batting. There'll be a host of reasons why they've chosen to do that. Used pitch, won't get any quicker maybe. And I think they've got a bit stuck. I know from within the camp, they've been quite critical of themselves for the way they've chased in those two home defeats. And I must admit, I think they've been hard on themselves, but it's good to see that rather than ducking the issue. But maybe that's one of the reasons why they've gone in first.
It's going to be another single for David Willey, so he will keep the strike. I think, yes, I think both have a lot of value and a lot of merit in one. I think they will want first use. It was a used pitch against Durham, and I think it'd be fair to say it got slower as the game went on. And I think you're right as well. There will be an element of didn't go as planned when they chased those 2 games against Durham and against Notts. So see if they can put a bit of pressure on the Lightning early, put a good score on the board. The boundary is, well, short to what will be David Willey's offside. And it's fair to say it's in a fair distance on the leg side as well, isn't it?
It is. I'm pleased to see that.
A fair distance. I couldn't give you an exact number, but it's in a fair distance.
It's 15 metres in?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Outfield will be quick. The ground staff were here early this morning, getting the mowers out, running that around as well. So could be a high-scoring affair. That one pulled away from David Willey. Is that going to beat the dive? It does. That's going to be another 4. David Willey gets his first boundary of the evening. A slight misfield maybe from Jack Blatherwick down on the boundary there. Just couldn't quite keep it inside the rope, although it felt like a race that he was always up against it.
Yeah, one time I thought he'd done it, but the ball just did not. As you just said about the quick outfield, it didn't decelerate, did it? It just kept going.
Skipped and skidded along. Maybe there was a bit of forehand. It's Wimbledon week, isn't it?
There's a bit of Emma Raducanu about that one.
David Willey, a tennis player?
No. He could probably play.
I would have thought so. First slip out. Dave Willey gives himself room, gets the outside edge and floats straight to Saki Mahmood at short third. He didn't have to move. And Jimmy Anderson has 2. Steelbacks are 2 down in the power play. And the captain, David Willey, goes for 6.
Well, his first wicket, the wicket of Tim Robinson, was a very good bit of bowling. That was just a lucky bit of bowling in a way. David Willey, as we'll see on replay, coming down the wicket, anticipating it being fairly full. He was right there, looking to hit it over mid-off, thick outside edge, and directly at the fielder there. He's not there for that, really, that fielder. He's there for the run-down shot, and because you've got to have him in the circle, basically. That's why he's there, but it went straight to him, unerringly. A little bit unlucky.
Yeah, but that's the end of the captain. 24 for 2 on the board after 14 deliveries, and it's Ravi Bopara in at number 4. So again, this flexible batting lineup has just continued, hasn't it? I suppose Justin Broad has batted in the top 4 so far this season. As you said, maybe with pace on, they're just looking to, well, horses for courses, I suppose, might be the right phrase.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's right. So there'll be quite a bit of thought gone into Bopara going in here. And actually, and that's right, because there should be a bit of thought about every decision. Of course there should. That said, actually get Ravi in would be on my mind most of the time, because he's a genius.
He is. Happy to leave that one alone through to Butler. There'll be an element here for the Steelbacks of just make sure that this power play doesn't get any worse.
Well, you can't win the game in the power play, but you can probably make sure you're almost certain to lose it if you play sort of particularly badly. As I said, one was got out, wasn't it? David Willey was a bit unlucky. We don't want to lose 3 in the power play. Bopara's got time to get in.
Yeah.
And he does that well.
Well, that one just be a change of pace there, just keeps low, tidied up by Josh Butler.
Yeah, batting doesn't look easy, does it? There's been a couple of boundaries, 3 boundaries, I think, already, maybe 4 boundaries already in that 24. But otherwise, the ball has not found the middle of the bat, has it?
No, it's just offering a bit of assistance, isn't it, for the seamers so far? I mean, you'd expect if there's any that James Anderson would find it. One attempted run down, well fielded. Bopara can't get off the mark. So 216 runs, an average of 54 for Ravi Bopara in this 2025 Vitality Blast.
And they're fantastic numbers, aren't they? We haven't really talked a lot about him in terms of his impact on games. And then you read his numbers out there. He's had a great tournament so far.
Yeah, he's had a couple of match-winning innings, hasn't he, where he's finished not out at the end. Gives himself a bit of room, and again, can't get it past that man at backward point. End of the over, a good over for Lancashire. Just 4 runs from it, but picking up the big wicket of David Willey. And Anderson after 2 overs, 2 for 15. 24 for 2 after 3.
Yeah, I think David was genuinely was unlucky there. People might say it was a rash shot. And, he hits that over mid-off for 4 or 6, and everyone says, well, it's a great shot. Anderson's line and length, that's what he does mostly. You kind of know where it's going to be, get to it and try and hit him off that. That's what he tried to do. Yeah. On that occasion, the edge went straight to the man.
Yeah, comfortable catch for Saki Mahmood. I'm sure it won't be long until we see him into the action either.
He is a fine bowler with a white cricket ball. He's a good bowler with a red cricket ball. With a white ball, he's absolutely brilliant, Mahmood.
He is. It's going to be Luke Wood to continue. Vasconcelos tries to attack him down the ground. It's Chris Green there doing the fielding at mid-off.
Slip is out, but the man at short, third man, is very fine. So he's kind of doing a very deep 3rd, 4th slip. which is similar to where Mahmood was. And with these white balls, if there's a drive shot played, it probably does carry to that man, as we've already seen.
One sliding down the leg side into the pads of Vasconcelos. He throws his head back in disappointment. Feels like he misses out on a bit of a freebie there from Luke Wood.
Yeah, Vasco in T20 cricket, he sometimes struggles to get the ball through the field, and he's missed out on a couple of balls there. The first ball he gave was a drive ball that he clothed a wee bit, and that one's bread and butter for him, and he's in good form at 100 in the week in the Champo, so he'll be disappointed not to have scored off both those.
Yeah, quite a big gap there on the leg side, isn't there, as well? That one through the offside and can get it through the infield. It was a diving attempt from Phil Salt. It does run away for 4. Down to deep extra cover.
It's one of those things that happens quite a lot. Dot balls in the first 6 overs, and as a batter, you kind of have to just suck it up and hope that you do get it right in the middle of the gap there. It's quite a tight gap. They've done their homework, and Vasconcelos does drive sort of square through there, but he got it unerringly right in the middle of the gap. But you are going to face a lot of dots because there are basically 7-8 fielders saving the one.
11 off 9 now for Vasconcelos. That one again through that same gap. It's going to be back-to-back boundaries for Ricardo Vasconcelos. Slightly squarer that time.
That'll be making him feel a whole lot better. Interesting, you know, he got about a quarter of this in terms of anywhere near the middle of the bat. But the white ball just off it goes, crosses the road now. Because if he times that, it gets there twice as quickly as it did. But it was the placement.
Yeah, he found that small gap on the offside slightly better than what he did the ball before, didn't he? Phil Salt, the ball before, felt like he was in with a chance. That one was dissected perfectly. One straighter. They're going to take the leg by. They do. That's phenomenal work by Luke Wood off his own bowling.
He is an incredible athlete. And that was a fantastic bit of work. Do you know if that hits? I reckon that's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Because Ravi's not really read the script there, I don't think.
Well, the two of them hesitated, didn't they? They kind of... They went on the nod, but they had to make eye contact before they nodded, I think.
Yeah. It wasn't... If he was in, he was just in. Luke Wood's hurt his knee a little bit, though the square will be absolutely rock hard. And he threw himself to sort of slide so he can get momentum to throw. It's a great bit of work.
He's got the right-handed Bapara on strike. He's yet to get off the mark. He faced 4 balls from that Anderson over and can't get it past the man at point. So we'll stay on 0. 33 for 2 after 4. Vasconcelos on strike. He'll be on 15.
Interesting to see whether they give Jimmy Anderson another one. Actually, I can see he's taken his cap off already. So if there was any question, Jimmy Anderson's answered that. I guess if he takes his cap off and walks confidently towards the umpire, you probably throw him the ball. But he's in conversation with Keaton Jennings, captain of the T20 side, and with Luke Wood, just getting a bit of a read on lines and lengths. He's moving his marker. Is he going to come around the wicket to Vasconcelos? No, he's not. He's going to stay over the wicket. 33 for 2, so just over 8s. A high boundary count, so singles have been hard to come by. It's worth bearing that in mind as the game unfolds. And again, another attempted ramp. It's a shot that's come into Vasco's game in the last couple of years, and he's generally played it pretty well. He's attempted a couple tonight and hasn't made contact. It's not to say it's a bad option. Bit of swing there.
Yeah, I think that's what's doing him at the minute. And unsurprisingly, Jimmy Anderson generating a bit of lateral movement here today, but just making it slightly harder to line up for Vasconcelos.
That's nicely played. I think it was a slower ball, that one. It seemed to come off the surface a little bit slower, and Vasconcelos, rather than playing a big shot, having played a big shot the ball before, says actually, let's get Ravi on strike, keep the board ticking. Northants don't need another wicket here, don't need another wicket in the power play.
No, but 5 dot balls for Ravi Bapara at the start of his innings is good work by Lancashire, isn't it? Building the pressure on the experienced man.
Oh, wow. He hit that so poorly. And that's quite a short boundary there to the leg side, isn't it? What is it, about 60 metres, perhaps a bit, something like that? And it travelled about 45 metres.
Yeah, I wondered whether Livingston had kind of picked that up straight away.
Yeah,
the breeze is coming across. Whether that's held it in the breeze or not, I don't know. But he looked slow to react, didn't he, for starters?
I thought it was out when he hit it, to be honest. Well, that's bounced again. That's a good run, I think. Yes, it is a good run. There's a collision between Butler and Bapara. Have a little shake of the hands. It was a very good run, that. And again, signs there that the Northants batters have kind of read the script that maybe this is not the ball's not flying onto the bat. We can't find gaps very easily, and therefore we must make sure we maximise singles. It was a very good run, that.
Yeah, that's going to be the trade-off, isn't it, to batting first on a used pitch? You're never really going to know what a good score is until you get out there.
Yeah. Oh, this is tight. Oh. I think Bopara got in, actually, but what he did also do was got hit by the ball on the follow-through. No damage done, though. And again, very clear signs there. It's good cricket from Northants. The fielders could probably just edge in a little bit, maybe come into 3 yards themselves. If they can read that script as well. They probably will, to be honest.
Yeah, there's going to be a change. Liam Livingston, who was on the boundary down at deep backward point, comes into the circle, and the man at mid-wicket goes out to the boundary edge.
And again, more lateral movement from Anderson. Nearly got through as Vasconcelos tried to hit it, I think, through the leg side. It just closed the bat face, got a thick inside edge on it. Batting is not easy out there at the moment.
No, I think the Steelbacks will be a little bit surprised by that as well. I think not to discredit the quality of the Lightning bowlers whatsoever, but I say we played very well for that under-19 ODI. As that young, was it 14-year-old Vaibhav Suryavanshi scored about 80 off 30 balls, and by all accounts put a couple of them over the heavy sweep down there at long off. So I think first impressions, they'll be taken aback here a little bit.
Yeah, it's just looked to come off at slightly different paces, hasn't it? And generally they're a bit slower. And it makes time in the ball very difficult. Mahmood's got real pace, and that will help. I would imagine he might vary his pace quite a bit. Batting not straightforward. And that's going to be the end of Vasconcelos. An attempted pull shot off the bails. It's swirling around a little bit, but it's comfortably caught by Anderson at mid-on. And first ball to the new bowler, Vasconcelos decided to take it off the bail height. When the wicket is a little bit too paced, cross-bat shots are tricky. That was either going to be a boundary or out. Came off the bottom of the bat. It went high, and you can see on replay that it did wobble around a bit in the breeze, but he's got a fantastic pair of hands, Jimmy Anderson. It would have been amazing had he dropped it. So a dream start for Mahmood, and the third wicket, which can be a sign of things to come. 3 wickets in the power play, you generally lose those games. Not always, and I think the numbers are getting sort of slightly better for that stat. It used to be at one time earlier in the world of T20, you lost 3 wickets in the power play and it was something like 80% probability you would lose, but that is coming down, but it's still not where Northampton need to be.
Yeah, I think that's part of the mindset change as well, isn't it? I think if you were 3 down a few years ago, you'd have thought, well, we'll dig in and we'll get through to a number, but actually it's never enough, is it?
Absolutely. Slips back in for the new batter, Justin Broad. Plays that nicely. So that's the extra pace there. Just makes running it away a little bit easier for Justin Broad. Another man in very good form. We knew that about his white ball cricket. Got 100 again in the championship game down at Kent. Northants very nearly won that from what looked like a certain draw. A very bold declaration. They gave themselves some time to bowl them out and nearly got there.
Yeah, it was an exciting last half an hour, wasn't it, down in Canterbury? Yeah, first class 100 for Justin Broad. Congratulations to him. He's had what, 250 so far this campaign in the Blast as well, 195 runs at 28.
He just is, every time I see him, he's a better cricketer than the last time, Justin Broad. Is that going to be another one to the short ball? No, it's going to evade the fielder running back. It bounces just inside the boundary rope. That's the extra pace of Saqib Mahmood, and he was too quick. He hurried Bopara there. Bopara trying to pull it square of the wicket, got a top edge. His heart would have been in his mouth momentarily, but he got enough of it, and such was the pace that it took it almost all the way for 6.
Just to back up your point about 3 wickets in the power play, our analytical friend James Maybe's been in contact. It's now that 67% win chance for 3 wickets in the power play.
That was quick.
For the last 3 years.
That's very quick.
Good to hear from you, James. Hope you're well.
Yeah, ditto. Yeah. Oh, that's a poor bit of fielding by Luke Wood. It's only going to cost, well, I guess an additional one. They're always going to take the one. You very rarely see Luke Wood misfield anything. He's a fantastic fielder. He's just feeling his knee again that he banged earlier. But again, the extra pace just makes deflections a little bit easier to play, more likely to find gaps in the field. I wouldn't be surprised if he bangs another one in, though. The previous one nearly got a wicket. He does bang another one in. It's pulled this time very successfully for 6. Well, I thought he'd bowl another short ball, and I think Ravi Bopara thought he might bowl another short ball because he was sitting back waiting for that. Actually, it carried very easily. I don't think Bopara got all of that ball. But yeah, it very comfortably pulled very far in front of square for 6. And having not scored off 5 balls, Bopara is now 14 off 10.
Yeah, it was a bit of a short-arm jab, wasn't it, by Bopara? That one there, I think, came true off the surface. The one before that just evaded Luke Wiles came through a little bit quicker than what he thought, but 50 up for the Steelbacks.
That's a good run. That time, the rundown was fielded by Luke Wood, but I like that. It's not a run. That bit of cricket happens a heck of a lot in T20 cricket. The run down straight to the man on the edge of the circle there at short third man. And historically, Northants haven't always taken that run if it goes straight to the fielder. But Justin Broad wide awake there. He's always going to get in if he goes quickly, which he did. So again, good cricket. 52 for 3 after the 6th over. So the 3 is a problem. 52 is not bad actually, but it's relied heavily on the boundary count. Rotation has proved difficult. Certainly Bopara is now in. So it's going to be a change this end. And Blatherwick is going to replace Sir James Anderson. He's got gas as well, Blatherwick. But now in the power play, we might find him using off-pace deliveries quite a bit as well. Well, it bounced, didn't it?
It just held in the surface again, didn't it? Lancashire, have they gone 5 out straight away? I think they have, haven't they?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
2 behind square down at fine leg and deep third.
I feel boundaries is, big shout this, isn't it? Yeah. Boundaries are going to be important in the T20 game.
34 of those 52 runs so far, Rowie, have come from over the rope.
A little bit fuller, nicely pushed. Comfortable single. That was actually slightly fumbled as well, wasn't it, by Keaton Jennings? He was lucky that ball bobbled, but it rolled right up his forearm into the crook of his elbow. It could easily have just gone straight over his wrist and run away for, what, 2 or 3 more?
5 inside the 30-yard circle now that Justin Broad is on strike.
Little squeeze, isn't it? Yeah. It's good to see. It's good cricket. Banged in and pulled for 2. It's very nicely fielded on the boundary. And gets Liam Livingston going to his right there. He played that very, very comfortably. He's a good player of short bowling, isn't he, Broad?
Yeah, it's he's been used kind of predominantly so far when the spinner's been bowling, hasn't he? And he's got a remarkably good sweep shot. As you said, fresh from a first-class 100 earlier on in the week.
It was a slower ball. Broad just trying to deflect that down the leg side, but His weight was going to the offside, and he just overbalanced by the time the ball got to him. It's nicely bowled. Nice disguise by Jack Blathwick. Like Luke Wood, started his career at Notts, has found his way up the M1 to Emirates Old Trafford. Started this spell pretty well. And that's banged in, that's pulled, and that's 4. Well, that, having just praised him, that was commentator's curse there from me, wasn't it? Having praised him for the start to the over, that was an absolute drag down. And Justin Broad said, thank you very much. I've been struggling to get away. That's just what I want, and smashed it for a 1 bounce 4 through mid-wicket.
Yeah, well timed. That one in front of square. He picked up the 2 behind square, didn't he, earlier on in the over? So these short boundaries. I know you've said it's not the hottest take that you'll ever make in your life, but it's got to be tempting, isn't it, to keep going at these short ones?
Keep going, absolutely. Last ball of the over. Banged in again, it's nicked. Well, it's run down, and he did nick it. He was trying to run it down towards third man for a single, and actually just got more of an edge than the middle of the bat. Josh Butler went full length and very, very nearly pulled off an incredible catch. He didn't, and therefore it ran away for 4. So back-to-back 4s to end the over. 63 for 310 off the over.
Wasn't far away, was he?
It wasn't far away. No, it wasn't far away.
What a squad of 14 that Lancashire have had to pick from this evening. They've got Phil Salt out there who can take the gloves if they want to. And then Matty Hurst, who hasn't made the 11 in the 14 as well. I assume when Josh Butler turns up and says, I'm keeping, that's the end of that conversation, I would imagine.
That's amazing to have a cricketer of Matty Hurst's capability not in your side. If anyone wants to know how good a side this is, there it is. So Mahmood's going to continue. That's a slower ball into the pitch. Bopara just knocking it away, really. He initially was going to hit that up and then realised it was slower and he was going to be through the shot and corrected the shot so that it didn't reach the man on the boundary out there. That's how good Ravi Bopara is. He's on 17. Broad's raced on now to 11.
Yeah, there's not going to be much pitched up here, is there, Rowie, looking at this field?
No, there's not. It's kind of like you can have ones, isn't it? If you want more than that. In fact, that's going to be a 2. It's pushed off the back foot. Broad's very quick in and out of the turn. Picks up 2. The fielder's very much in front of square on the offside, and that ball went quite a long way behind.
Yeah, nicely timed again, wasn't it? Well fielded by Liam Livingston down on the boundary edge, which was just seen him out the window the over before, just signing a couple of autographs down there for some of the kids that have made their way in this evening, which is nice.
It's good to see, isn't it? Good for him. Another off-pace delivery. Northants, as you would expect, their scoring rate, by which I mean the number of balls they're scoring off, not how many they're scoring off, but the number of balls they're scoring off is increasing all the time, particularly much easier to do, obviously, outside of the power play, because basically 3 fielders disappear that were otherwise saving the 1. But I've seen good intent there from Northants. They're saying, it's difficult to rotate. The power play feels like a big deal here. Be interesting to see how Lancashire go. Early shout. I think Lancashire might go very hard in the power play. Try and get ahead of the game. Anyway, that's to come. It's a slower ball again, banged in. It's a longer boundary out there for the poor shots. And so much so did Mahmood take pace off the ball that it was almost on the way down when it got to Bopara. And it's very, very hard to hit that ball hard.
I think Lancashire have read this pitch a little bit earlier than what the Steelbacks have.
Yeah.
I think with obviously the experience of Anderson in the side, I think those kind of deliveries into the surface, the pace off, changes of pace, back of a length, they've realised it's just holding a touch.
That's full pace, a nice cricket shot. He's only going to get 1 for that. It's too good a cricket shot, that, wasn't it? Back foot punch, that's how you play that shot. Up on tiptoes, high elbow, beautifully played, 1. Where's the boundary option here? You got to get away from it and get it into the wide third man channel. I can't see how wide he is. Is he wide there?
He's there's a fair gap between the two of them, but Livingston is very, very quick, isn't he? Across the grass. And I don't think Saqib Mahmood is going to bowl one in Ravi Bopara's half to go down the grounds.
Oh, that could be called. It is. That's the wide. Yep. Well, I didn't call the full pace bouncer, but I was thinking it, honestly. But that was just banged in too short. And he's got to bowl it again. Well, you can see the tactic to Bopara, can't you? It's kind of, you can have one with a pull shot, but if you want to do more than that, it's going to be generally, not always, but generally a slower ball. And you're going to have to generate all your pace, hit it right up, get the breeze, and get it over that long boundary.
Yeah.
Or you can have one.
It is with the breeze, though, isn't it? Which is the advantage for Bopara.
Last ball of the over, and that is exactly the gap I was just talking about as a boundary option. Slightly too full, wasn't it? There's no need for Mahmood to do anything other than bowl slower ball into the middle of the pitch there to get out of the over. He's got all his boundary men back on the leg side, but he bowled a pace on delivery on about fifth stump. And Bopara, something I've observed in the last couple of years watching him, is he hits the ball in the middle of the gap better than anyone I've seen. You know, sometimes you just play a shot and it goes in the middle of the gap. But Bopara finds the gap so frequently that you know he's manipulating the bat face. So that takes him to 22, and the score after 8 overs, 74 for 3.
First look a spin as well. Rowie, it's going to be Luke Wells, the tall wrist spinner, comes into the attack from the Lynn Wilson centre end. Justin Broad will be on strike. All that experience of Ravi Bopara. This is 487th career T20 for Ravi Bopara.
How many sweep fielders have we got here, Dan? Oh, just 2.
Yeah, we've got one on the 45.
Yeah.
One down at deep square. That's not going to be swept. It's going to be pulled in front of square. Luke Wood's going to come round. Bopara's going to come back for a second and completes that comfortably. One's just back of a length, wasn't it? Dropped it a bit short from Wells, so sweep wasn't on. You got 2 behind square on the offside, inside that 30-yard circle, and then 1 down at deep point as well. So they are protecting it, but he does play it well. And there is the first one. Just concedes a single, though, down to Liam Livingston at deep backward square.
That's a good length, that, from Luke Wells. Yes, it was swept, but you can't really generate any power from that because it's not in the slot, is it? You almost want to get the sweep almost on the half volley. And that one was more of a bail height delivery.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be any turn in this surface, Rowie. That one is a drag down. That's pulled away, and he's got away with it. It's just going to concede 1. Chris Green almost wears it in the end down at deep mid-wicket.
I think that hurt him. It was hit incredibly hard, wasn't it? Yeah, I think it might just hold in the surface a wee bit.
Something that they struggled with, didn't they, against Notts with those 3 spinners. Reverse sweep this time over those 2 fielders inside the 35-yard or 30-yard circle. Couple of bounces for 4. And Justin Broad moves to 22. What a shot that is.
I mean, he's got such a variety of sweep shots. A bit like Ben Duckett's got. He could have swept that ball anywhere from extra cover to fine leg, and he decided to go to fine leg. Brilliant shot. They've moved the fielder on the boundary. He's gone a long way behind square on the offside now.
They've just taken one of those fielders out behind square inside that 35-yard, haven't they? That one's played down the grounds for a single.
It's fired in that, wasn't it? I think that was a front of the hander. Now, is Bopara going to come down? Look, extra cover is a huge gap over extra cover. There is a man on the 1 at extra cover, but get it over his head, and there is a huge gap at extra cover. And it's a Ravi Bopara area, though.
It's a full toss. Does complete the single eventually, but kind of stands and watches it run down to Flatherwick at mid-off with disgust that he wasn't able to get anything more than just a single from it. 84 for 3 after 9, and having lost 3 wickets in the power play, the Steelbacks just starting to put together a bit of a recovery here.
It's been a good little partnership, hasn't it? I mean, with 3 down, as it was early on, what Northampton desperately needed was a partnership. Both of these 2 guys took about 5 or 6 balls to get themselves in, and they've now recovered. I mean, Broad is now striking at almost 200, and Bopara is on 150. So that is the experience of Bopara there. Is don't panic, stay calm. You take your boundary options when they come, but we need a partnership. And he's done that brilliantly yet again.
Yeah, it's a fortuitous way to get off the mark, wasn't it, after 5 dot balls for Bopara? But so far, he's paying good. It's going to be spin from both ends. Chris Green, the Australian, comes into the attack, replacing Saqib Mahmood from the David Capel end. 5 fielders out on the rope. Bopara on strike. One into the surface. That will be, I suspect, a lot of what we'll see from Chris Green through his spell this evening.
Yeah, for sure. What he won't want to do is, firstly, to Broad, he won't want to bowl full enough that Broad can sweep it. And he won't want to bowl the length where he can just put his foot down the wicket and hit it. So step hit. It's step and hit coming almost at the same time. Step hit. That's the sort of a slot ball, effectively, and he won't want to do that. So he'll be trying to bowl it sort of bail height, something like that generally.
Yeah, 7 wickets at 28 so far this summer for Chris Green in the Vitality Blast. It's expensive up at Old Trafford against the Steelbacks earlier this summer, though. 0 for 41 from 4 overs, which is very uncharacteristic for a man of his quality. There is one of those sweeps, which I think Chris Green has seen Justin Broad play that. He's taken all the pace off of it, so much so that Broad's had to take the hand off the bat to control it. Concedes just a single.
That's very cleverly bowled, wasn't it? He predicted, the bowler predicted that Broad was going to play the sweep shot. Very clever bowling that.
Para back on strike. 3 out on the leg side, 2 on the offside, and there is one of those on the offside. It's Liam Livingston patrolling that boundary edge.
It's something that the slow bowler, the successful slow bowlers in T20 cricket, they read intent, and then they can land the ball in the right place. And Green is a master of that.
Yes, it's the big difference, really, isn't it, between the Steelback side and who has played here over the last couple of weeks in this competition. Broad gives himself a bit of room and opens up that gap in the offside, times it well, come back for a couple of runs with Wood doing the tidying up. The Steelbacks line up with 1 out-and-out spinner, whereas Durham we saw Souter and Parkinson, Notts we saw Farhan Ahmed, Calvin Harrison, Liam Patterson-White, Luke Wells, Chris Green in this 11. If it does turn, that's where the Steelbacks just find themselves a little bit short, don't they?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Got most skills covered with good cover as well. Plenty of them in each of the main skill areas in T20 cricket. But I think, it's pretty clear, isn't it? When you look at the card, we're a spinner light. This time of year, with the weather we've had, wickets are going to be drier. You're going to be playing on used pitches by now. And so pace off, spinners gripping, the ball gripping and turning and offering a bit of variable bounce can be great. That said, the team is as the team is, and a couple of Northampton seamers are very accustomed at doing that as well. Ben Sanderson can go pace off very well, and obviously the man out there, Ravi Bopara, is a very fine exponent of off-pace bowling. But a frontline spinner, it'd be interesting to see how Pope goes, because he started steadily in the campaign. Maybe he can blossom in the second half.
So, well, Keaton Jennings has decided that Luke Wells wasn't the option from the Lynn Wilson Centre, and so he's gone back to Jack Blatherwick. It's the 1 over before this one for Blatherwick. Went for 11 in the power play. I guess this will be a spell of change-ups and slower balls, cutters.
There's an argument here for absolutely using off pace, but also just holding length a little bit, just top of off.
Is top of off. It's over the offside. I think that's going to find the gap. It is. 1 bounce for over cover for Ravi Bopara. Moves to 30. Takes the score to 93 for 3 now. The second half of this innings.
To the untrained eye, that looks like a slot ball, but it wasn't a slot ball. He's hit that on the up, controlled it beautifully, because when you swing in the bat that fast, you could easily slide that off the face and find the boundary fielder, but he doesn't. He finds a gap.
Just holds it, doesn't he? Just a fraction longer Short ball this time, pulled away. Nonchalantly, stylishly pulled away. And that was close, actually. Bopara.
That was brilliant.
Bopara, again, just strolling through for that single. And Livingston's got an absolute cannon of an arm.
That was lovely there because Bopara was kind of indicating to Livingston, go on, then, if you want to throw it, I'll get in. And then Livingston did throw it, and Bopara thought, I'm not getting in. That's a rocket of an arm.
Ooh, this is going to be a bit closer than I thought. Broad back on strike, 26 off 16. Pulled away. That's going to be another 4. Moves to 30, gets it wide of Luke Woods. Just, again, I think that's another one of those just held in the pitch. And
yeah, I think it was. I think Blatherwick sort of kicked the ground a little bit there. I think he's trying to bowl a sort of a, yeah, I think he's trying to bowl it hard into the pitch, but about bail height. But he's dragged it back, and Broad played that beautifully. Didn't try and overhit it, did he? Alex Wakely used to play that shot so well, and that's a real compliment to Justin Broad.
The pull shot through mid-on. Well, wide mid-on. And that is gone. He's gone through him. Blatherwick gets Justin Broad. He goes for 30 off 18. As you say, a change of pace. Really well bowled, really well disguised by Blatherwick. He gets his first of the evening. And the Steelbacks now are 98 for 4.
Well, that's beautifully bowled. Something that us Badgers love in T20 cricket is, what does a bowler go to when he's got hit for 4? And so often a bowler goes slower when he's got hit for 4. And that's one of those examples there. That was the perfect slower ball. It was an off cutter. It just held a little bit and ran back in very slightly. Just flicked off bail. You can't. You're going through the shot early. You think it's going to be full pace. You're through the shot thinking, I can lift this over the leg side. And as your bat is coming down, you think, oh no, I've got absolutely stuffed. All you're hoping then is it just bounces a bit and goes over the stumps. But it was perfectly landed by Jack Blatherwick. This has not been, so far, the previous 4 balls haven't been great for him, but that was a great delivery and a good comeback after getting slapped for 4.
Yeah, fantastic comeback. In at number 6 is Safe Save. And if we've spoken up about a couple of Northamptonshire players in form, particularly in red ball cricket, there's nobody playing as well as Safe Save at the moment. 5 first-class hundreds to his name at the start of the 2025 calendar. Essentially frustratingly starved of opportunity in the Blast so far this summer with the success that the top orders had.
Yeah, agreed. He needs to read the script here. He's got time to get in. He's got to get in. Because it's not a pitch that you can just go from ball 1. I think people who've tried to do that have come unstuck. And, Bopara is the man to tell him exactly how to play this innings. Now, Safe Save's perfectly good enough to work things out himself, and he's got such a wide range of shots. But I think, take 4 or 5 balls to get yourself in here, Safe, and then you get that back. You get your money back.
Yeah, give yourself an opportunity, set a platform again. It's another one of those partnerships, isn't it? Similar to what Broad and Bopara put together is what Steelbacks need again. McManus will be carded next with Luke Proctor at number 8. So the Lightning will be thinking, if they can get another wicket here quite quick, it's quite a long tail for T20 cricket.
Totally agree with that. And they're going to get a single then. I'm going to be interested now to see what they do with the fielder. They do put a little mini squeeze on. And that'll only be 1 extra fielder inside the circle if they do it, and they're not going to do that. Okay. I thought they might just try and squeeze Safe Save and let him know that we've got 5 in and he needs to play a shot. Safe Save's job here for the next 3 or 4 balls is just to knock it in a hole and get up the other end. Obviously, if he gets a poor delivery, we'll then cash in.
Put it away, but... And it's not. It's on the money. Pushed out of the front hands again by Chris Green. Gets off the mark, brings up the 100 for the Steelbacks. 100 off the second ball of the 12th over. Bopara on 32, Safe Save on 1. That one has a full toss, and it's gone straight to Keaton Jennings at short extra cover. A gift, a freebie, whatever you want to call it. Ravi Bopara is going to have to be hauled off this cricket pitch. A low full toss, and it's chipped catching practice straight to the captain.
Ravi Bopara had a full toss earlier in his innings and he missed it that badly and was really cross with himself. Nearly didn't even run. He hit it so badly to the fielder on the boundary or along the floor, that one. This one was, yeah, a very sort of knee-high full toss. Could have hit that almost anywhere. And in the end, he just pushed it straight to Keaton Jennings' extra cover, who couldn't believe it. When Keaton Jennings caught it, he was almost embarrassed, I think, for Bopara. That was an absolutely freak dismissal. And that's back-to-back wickets, really. Two wickets falling very quickly together there. And you just said, Dan, Lancashire will be thinking if they get another one now, yeah, Lewis McManus can play, but he's going to be in for 8.5 overs if he's going to be there at the end.
Yep.
Doesn't normally hang around for that long in this format. He's normally a finisher, but he's got to play a longer innings now.
Yeah, opportunities for both McManus and Zaid to just settle it down. There's obviously a lot of experience out there now. They will know, they'll read the script, they'll know what's required. McManus, particularly this summer, has just a real air of experience from Lewis McManus in all formats of cricket so far that we've seen in 2025.
I've really, really enjoyed his cricket, Lewis McManus. I think he's growing as a cricketer all the time. I mean, I've always thought he's a good cricketer. Please don't get me wrong there, but I think he's really growing now. As we know, he's worked really hard at his game in the close season since he's been here at Northants, and it's certainly paying off.
Yeah, pen to paper on a new deal as well. New 2-year extension at the county grounds. So he can't get it past the man at backward point.
This is where you got to have the gumption to absorb a bit of pressure here. They've both only got one. They're very new to the crease. Just get yourselves in. Wow.
That's a way of taking a single, Rowie, that I don't think we expected. Or make it 2. That's very, very well run by Sabe on the misfield.
That's ordinary cricket by Lancashire. A situation that you see so frequently. The fielder running away from the square, trying to field it and catch up with it, knocks it past the fielder who's coming in. And if he just left it, there was never going to be 2 there. But that won't bother Sabe. But yeah, running down the wicket there, if that ball just turns a fraction, I mean, Chris Green doesn't turn the ball very much, but occasionally he does, but not on that one. So fortunately for Sabe, he got back on it.
Well, here's a nod to how important the Lancashire Lightning view this partnership between Lewis McManus and Sabe. James Anderson is back into the attack.
Matchups, isn't it? You know, the analysts will know all about matchups, and they try and keep it simple for players. The analysts know everything. They try and keep it simple, and they'll say seam to these 2. Basically, if you can do that, go seam to these 2. And when you've got James Anderson on your side, you probably want him to bowl. So he's going to bowl at Lewis McManus. It's an off-pace delivery, bounced a wee bit. And there are 5 men in the ring. They only need to have 4, but the fact that there are 5, so-called mini squeeze, says they want to bowl at McManus before he gets going, but also it says this, is that Jimmy Anderson's got the ball, so we can afford to have another man in the circle. He's not going to go to unknown boundaries. That's very full and very straight, just sliding down the leg side, I think.
That looked good from here.
It came back on the offside, didn't it? Pretty straight off the pad, and that's normally a good sign. It encourages the umpires to raise a finger, but I think it was just sliding. That was my initial thought. Lancashire, very good appeal. It's nicely played on tiptoe from Lewis McManus. Anderson is really cross with himself there. He's almost apologising to his captain about that delivery. He was livid with himself.
It's so, so good to see James Anderson playing cricket. I'm sure there would have been a lot of people...
It's going down, isn't it? Yep.
Offered to shake back a little bit at the end. I don't know, but...
Umpire's call?
Yeah, there would have been a lot of people, wouldn't there, at the end of that Test career that would have wondered and thought, but he was pretty quick, pretty adamant to come out and say, no, I'm not done yet. I want to keep playing. And it's fantastic to be able to watch him still.
Loves it. That's a safe shot, isn't it? Let the ball go past you, chop it away. Beautiful wrists. get it wide of third man, get two. You know, that's a nice round of applause. I think that was more for the running than anything else. But that cricket shot, there's so much skill in that shot. It just looks like a rundown, doesn't it? But there's no width on that ball. And it's not got a lot of pace about it. And he makes width and makes pace. His hands are so good. Only going to pick up one there. Running the first one quickly, which I like to see. It's something I noticed Tim Robinson didn't do off the first ball of the game. He thick edged down to third man, and he just really basically walked down the other end. I thought, well, that's not endearing yourself to the home crowd. Last ball then of this Jimmy Anderson's fourth over. Yeah, using the facilities, back of a length. McManus can't really time it. And that's the end of the Jimmy Anderson spell. And another very successful spell it was at that too. The 13 overs gone 107 for 5. The run rate is 8.2. The key problem Northants have got here is 5 wickets down with 7 overs to go, and these two guys not really yet in. There's a lot of things stacked against them, and they'll be having a conversation about what's the number here. What number do you think we can get to with 42 balls left? I'm having the conversation in my own head as well. I'm sure Dan is.
What are you coming up with?
Starts with a 1. Green round the wicket to Dave.
Not much gets past you, does it?
It starts with a 1, and I think it's probably 170.
Yeah.
165, 170. If you play for that, you might get past it. If you play for 180, you probably end up well short of it. Dave coming down the wicket again, just creating a bit of room, knocks it down to the fielder on the backward point boundary for a single. What are your thoughts, Dan? Any argument with that?
Not really, no. I mean, you're far more qualified to come up with those numbers than I am, Rowie, but yeah, there's a rebuild here, isn't there? And see how many balls you can have at the end if Save and Lewis McManus can stay together.
Exactly. What you need, fired in, tucked away, got it fine, but they're only going to pick up 2. What you desperately need in any T20 game, your plan will be to have a batter or 2 batters in, i.e. they've been at the crease a while, going into the last 4 or 5 overs. That's these 2, right? Pretty much. I mean, Procky can play, obviously, but this isn't his best format. Fired in again from Green.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And I think you say 4 or 5 overs. I wonder as well with the scorecard as it is.
Swept fine, but it's gone straight to Luke Wells. It's been unlucky there, straight to the man.
And respectfully to Proctor, Sanderson, Pope and Scrimshaw, I wonder whether 4-5 turns into 3.5.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's going to be very interesting, challenging for Northants. It's a slower ball. It's swept up and deliberately swept up to catch the breeze. I think it was probably going to make the journey anyway, but the breeze made sure it went 20 yards over the boundary, and a good finish to the over. Chris Green gambling there a bit. That over had been 5 balls of pace on, and that last one he just held back. And what Lewis McManus did very well was played an orthodox raise, which took a bit early. It was an orthodox sweep shot, just hit it up rather than flat, and got it up. When he got it up high enough to get the breeze, and that'll make him feel a little bit better about that. So 116 for 5. But yeah, it's the wickets that are the problem, aren't they, for Northants?
It certainly limits their options, doesn't it, going forward?
It does.
Yes, you've got Luke Proctor. We've seen him hit a couple of big sixes here this summer, and Ben Sanderson has hit a career best 60 odd, didn't he, in the championship earlier this year? So
Blatherwick on for Anderson, and that's nicely played by Zabe. They might pick. No, they're going to pick up 1. My view was obscured of Liam Livingston on the deep point boundary. Nicely played by Zabe. With the outfielders as hard and dry as it is, well, that was on the edge of the square there, the misfield. But there's been an enormous amount of bobbles, hasn't there? And there's something in that I like to see teams put fielders under pressure, because you just need the bobble. The bobble gets you 2 every time if you're ready for it. Banged in, it's pulled flat. nearly reached all the way to Luke Wells, who's on the boundary edge. It didn't reach him. It was just pitched in front of him. He would have thought momentarily, can I get in? He couldn't. So he stood still and defended it. It was a good judgment call by him.
Yeah, it was. I think he certainly went for the safer of the two. I think the fact it was so flat saved McManus there. I think if that had any more elevation, Luke Wells would have got himself in position for it.
Mid-on and mid-off both up. And yeah, I thought Safe Save would try and get it over one of them. But that was very well bowled. Control of length there was very good from Blatherwick. He's missed his length a couple of times. But that was absolutely bang on. Yeah, these two have got to, yeah, it's really hard because they've got to score at kind of 9 and over, 8 and a bit and over, and not get out. And that's not easy to do.
No, it's a battle, isn't it? A real battle. And Lancashire, well, they've made the running, haven't they, through the course of these opening 15 overs, 5 wickets to their name. 3 of those came in the power play, which, as I say, I think they read the script slightly earlier than what
I think they did.
The Steelbacks did.
Northants also, you know, I mentioned earlier how critical the lads have been of themselves, and the coaches as well have been critical of the last couple of run chases, saying that we haven't gone hard enough early enough, haven't been as aggressive enough early enough, is what I mean by that. And that'll be in the mind of these two as well. You know, they don't want to leave any runs unscored out there, but it is difficult. There are 5 wickets down, and you need batters going in because the Northants tail, there's a few there who, you know, they're decent cricketers. Of course they are, and Sando has got a career best this year, but you don't really want Sando facing very many balls in the T20 game. It's all about fine judgments, all decision making. So the last over of this, it's been a good over so far from Jack Blatherwick. But that one is in the slot, and Safe Save clears his front leg, bends his back leg to get elevation. Blatherwick misses his length, and Safe smashes him for 4. So that's the second consecutive over where there's been a boundary off the last ball of the over. In both cases, Lancashire had won the over. And then in both cases, they lost control of length. And both times, this time Zaid, the previous time McManus had really cashed in.
There's your 8 off the over as well, Rowie. It's 4 off the first 5 balls. As you say, over pitched. Takes the score up to 124, 30 balls to go. As you say, it still feels like that 165, 170 number, doesn't it? But as you say, if you set for that, you never know what could happen.
Always the case.
Have a look back to that Jimmy Neesham innings that was played for Durham a couple of weekends ago.
Yeah, he sat in, he didn't blink, and then he caught up. So again, Keaton Jennings going seam against these two Northants middle order batters. It's going to be Luke Wood, the left armour. Tucked away into the leg side. They're going to look for 2, but they're only going to get 1. It's a poorish throw, but he was onto it early enough. Never any thought of a second. Jimmy Anderson finds himself in the ring. And that's about his legs, isn't it? I think they want pace on the boundary edge. There was a time when Jimmy Anderson would have happily done a boundary job, I think. But nowadays, he's happy in the inner ring. It's hit past him. You can watch someone else chase it. Lefty against lefty then. Where's Dave going to try and go? He's flicked it behind square on the leg side for 4. What a shot. I don't know if we're able to see a replay of that, but Safe Save drew the error there. We're going to see this. Watch his front foot here. He just goes, watch this. He goes there. Just opens up. And Luke Wood is saying, he's trying to create width. I'll follow him. And Safe Save saying, no, you're going to follow me. I know you are. And I'm just going to flick it around the corner. Brilliant batting.
It was well bowled by Luke Wood, really, from the initial movement. It was into the pocket, wasn't it?
It wasn't badly bowled, but Zave had different thoughts. That time, the same sort of movement. That time he was trying to open up the offside. I think he's indicating an off-cut to that, to McManus.
Again, it'll be interesting to see what the Steelbacks bowlers do on this surface, won't it? Will they look at what the Lightning have done and those changes of pace into the surface.
Absolutely. 100%. I think Josh Butler genuinely thought that was out.
Yeah, I thought he did as well.
I don't think it was out. And nor does the umpire, and nor does anyone else, actually, on the whole ground.
Maybe a bit of pocket on the way through. What are we going down to see here? Oh, Saki Mahmood with the Sharpies.
Good lad. It's good to see.
Good crowd in as well tonight, Rowie. Why wouldn't you be here as well? Friday night. It's been a couple of weeks off, isn't it, with those 2 championship games, and Northampton have turned out.
Oh, that's nicely bowled. Luke Wood is, he has a fast arm. He doesn't really, he's pretty quick, so he's using his body pretty well. But his arm speed is fantastic. And what he does very, very well is that, probably back pocket. Is that what you were thinking?
I thought so. That was my initial impression.
I think you're probably right. He's a very good bowler of a slower ball because his arm doesn't decelerate. Anyway, this is his last ball of the over, the 16th. Banged it in. McManus pulls it, gets quite a bit of it. Fielder does well, falling to his left. He's in off the boundary to try and stop 2s, which makes stopping 4 harder, but he did that job pretty well there. So 2 off the last ball of that over, not the customary boundary. 132 for 5. Northants 4 to go.
4 to go. Are you still thinking 165, 170, or have they earned the right to start thinking a bit further than that now?
No, I'm still about there.
Yeah,
I'm still about there.
Still that absolute jeopardy, isn't there, for the Steelbacks to lose 1 more, and all of a sudden 165 starts looking like 155, and that you would say it's going to be incredibly difficult to defend, and you'd argue and say wouldn't be enough, but
I think sort of 175 is probably par here.
Yeah.
The batting second is generally easier, isn't it? Because you've seen the way the ball reacts. Yeah, I was going to say earlier on that the conversation almost since Ravi Bopara walked off will have been about the pitch and how to bowl on it.
Yeah, of course. Well, Saki Mahmood back into the attack, and he's decided not to use the pitch this time around. And another full toss for the Steelbacks. Just concedes 1 run. 133 for 5. McManus will go back on strike. Field will change as well. Left-hand, right-hand combination in the middle for Northamptonshire. Slightly more orthodox now that McManus is back on. 3 on the offside inside that 30-yard circle. Keaton Jennings is at mid-on. Slower ball pulled over Keaton Jennings, and that's going to be 4 for Lewis McManus. Into the surface, pace off by Mahmood. The wicket-keeper waits for it and pulls it well in front of square for another boundary.
It looks very easy. There'll be so many people watching this will say, well, I could hit that for 4. But actually, when the guy can bowl 90 miles an hour, but he was a bit of a drag down, slower ball, you've got to have your balance absolutely perfect to hit that ball so cleanly. That's very, very good batting. It was a poor delivery for sure, but credit to the batter as well.
Changing the field as well. Short third stays inside the circle, and the man goes down to deep backward point. Liam Livingston and James Anderson have switched on the leg side, and Keaton Jennings goes down to long on. The fielder comes up at short fine leg as well. Lewis McManus not known for ramping, and won't be, but just goes straight down the ground. It's muscled past Saki Mahmood on his follow through. Baseball-esque for Lewis McManus, and it's back-to-back 4s.
I mean, we'll see this on replay. I'm so glad this ball was wide of the bowler, because, yeah, he kind of ducked, didn't he, before it was even hit. He knew it was coming back at him. If that comes at the body, he can't get out of the way of that. Absolutely mullered that ball.
1 for 1 for 5. McManus on 23. Field stays the same. Slower ball, outside edge. They'll take the single. They'll scamper through, bring Safe back on strike. Obviously feels like 16 and in terms of the overs for the Steelbacks was the moment to go for the pair of them.
Well, they've played it perfectly to this point, haven't they? Because we said, you want batters in going into the last 4 or 5 overs, and that's what they played for. They played it brilliantly so far. We've edged the ball to the fielders a lot. That doesn't always happen, does it?
No, not at all.
Been a little unlucky there.
4 fielders out on the leg side. Not a single fielder inside the 30-yard circle on the leg side. That is short ball, obviously over leg stump. Safe save will be gutted that he's not made contact with that. That shot there for safe save will be as strong for him as what it would be a front foot block for several village cricketers tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think he was expecting to get a wide call, but he had moved across, hadn't he?
Yeah, and they do follow you, don't they? Those wide lines. So here's a dot ball from Mahmood. Good comeback. And that one is high, handsome, in the crowd. It's 6 and it's safe save, playing that trademark pickup over the leg side. And what a catch that is by the man in the black cap. High fives all round.
That's the area where my lads' cricket team often stand down there. I'd love to see if that was one of those guys who caught that. That was a good catch.
One-handed as... Was it one-handed? Fantastic effort. What a catch.
Sign him up.
Sign him up.
Another 6-ball boundary, though. And another over where you think, okay, there was another boundary in the beginning of that over. In fact, 2, wasn't there? That was a poor over, all told. But another 6-ball boundary.
What a catch that is.
These two upon 48.
It's been a very good partnership. You say it loudly if you want. Shout it down the microphone.
These two.
Do you want me to turn your microphone up a little bit as well? Chris Green back into the attack. 1 for 19 off 3 so far. McManus on strike. Slides through. Not taken cleanly by Butler, but is a dot ball to start the over.
The long conversation out of shot between Anderson and the captain, Jennings.
That's over those two, is it? Yes, it's going to evade. Keaton Jennings, it's going to skip away. It's brilliantly chased down by the captain. Fielded well with James Anderson. Keeps it inside the field of play. Saves 2. For a second, he would have felt like he was running a losing race then, wouldn't he, Jennings? Brings up the 150 as well for the Steelbacks. 2.4 overs to go. McManus keeps the strike. That one fired in again, bottom edge. Into the surface, back to Chris Green for a dot ball. Good start to this over, Rowie. Just 2 coming from the first 3.
Yeah, it's been difficult to hit him. They've been width on the first ball and the third ball, a bit of width. And they've kind of almost grubbed a wee bit.
And there is the width. That time it's going to be 4. 1 bounce down to the ComSave stands. McManus moves to 30, takes the score to 154 for 5. 14 legal deliveries left. And it has been a good partnership quietly between these two, worth over 50 now. Oh, it's gone up, it's gone down the ground. I think that's going to be out, isn't it? It is.
Oh, that's well
it's a good catch by Phil Salt. He's come a long way off the boundary rope. Front of the members at the Spencer Lounge. Caught it just outside the 30-yard circle. Chris Green gets his second and gets the wicket of the dangerous Lewis McManus.
I don't know whether the replay would get this, but what Phil Salt does really, really well here is he makes his ground early, and so he's pretty stationary, pretty much so, when he catches the ball. So the head is still, and it makes the ball going in accurately a lot easier when you do that. He did his work early there. It was a very good catch, actually. He made that look very easy. Well played, Lewis McManus.
Very good innings, wasn't it? 30 off 24. Partnership 54 as well between he and Safe Save. So the new man will be the Red Bull captain in at number 8, Luke Proctor.
Slow. I think he's going to bowl a really loopy one.
He's not.
He's not. He's going to fire it in.
He's going to pick up a leg by to end Chris Green's 4th over. 2 for 25 from 4 for Chris Green. 12 balls to go, 155 for 6 now. And where are we off to this time? Wendell's in. Good news, Wendell's in. Bad news for Liam Livingston. He's fielding on that boundary size. Oh, he's getting closer, Liam.
Oh, that's nice.
That's wonderful news. For those that are tuning in from Lancashire, Wendell Pemberton rarely misses a day's cricket down at Wantage Road, does he?
He's normally there for some part of it, isn't he? Makes friends with all the opposition fielders on that boundary. Some of them try to ignore him, but they generally do get engaged by him at some point.
He's an enthusiastic cricket fan, isn't he? Luke Wood back into the attack. Proctor off the hip. They're going to take the single. That's opportunistic by Safe Save. I think he would have been out if
I think he was dead, yeah.
Ashton Turner had hit there. But they had to take the single. They had to get Safe Save on strike.
Another deflected ball that's gone straight to the man. That's happened 4 times, 5 times?
Yeah.
Something like that. You know, you get half those, right? We're another 12 or so on, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, the big one, of course, is that wicket of David Willey, wasn't it, in the power play?
It was indeed.
Change of field. 2 fielders come up inside the circle, behind square, short third and fine leg. That's going to be played towards Anderson, who can't cut it off. Livingston can, though. Come back for a second. Anderson going for the catch there rather than saving the second run.
In his prime, he catches that, I think.
Well, I think it's the right decision as well. You get Safe Save now, and all of a sudden,
definitely,
you're chasing 165, aren't you, at the end here?
Yeah, for sure.
Safe Save keeps the strike. He's on 27. 10 balls to go.
Is he safe? Will be thinking, I've created width there. He's going to go straighter.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Well, Keaton Jennings and Luke Wood are going to have a conversation. Safe Save's got his helmet off at the minute.
I wonder if Safe Save will go across and try and flick it leg side here. And they've got 5 in the circle.
They have.
That's bizarre.
I'm not quite sure where that's come from. It's a slower ball Yorker, brilliantly bowled by Luke Wood. It's just going to be a single. It's curious that. I wonder why they brought Saqib Mahmood up inside.
I think they got that wrong.
I wondered whether Mahmood was outside of the boundary edge for a while, which is why that was a little bit of a delay in play.
They're behind time, aren't they? That's why they're behind time. So that's why they need the extra fielder in.
Well, that's an advantage Northamptonshire then, isn't it?
It is.
Slower ball pulled away by Luke Proctor, gets 4, gets inside it. Slower ball, wasn't it, again by Luke Wood? And Luke Proctor isn't going to miss out on that.
Apologies to everyone there. We were a bit slow working that out. But yeah, the cut-off time, basically you get 1 hour and 15 to bowl your overs. You do get some allowances for lost balls and other things that might happen. And the umpires will work with the captain, and it's always on the scoreboard. But if by that cut-off time, or what it becomes with some allowances, you haven't finished your overs, then you need another fielder inside. And that's why there are 5 in. And that's why that went for 4, because the fielder would otherwise have been down on that very boundary.
Yeah, and 10 balls as well to defend with just 4 outside. So
yeah, they're well behind, aren't they?
The offside is inside the circle now. Everybody out on the leg side, and Luke Proctor steps across it and will be signalled wide by Luke Wood. Regardless of the movement there, I think that was sliding down the leg side anyway.
And that's a nice bit of umpiring, actually, because, yeah, when the batter goes across, the line moves with him. But it's good judgment because it was generally outside any line, really, wasn't it? Any line you care to draw.
It was. It started out there and just carried on going, didn't it? 2 balls left in this over then. Proctor 5 off 3. The score now 164. Tries to give himself room.
That's out. Oh, that's not
It's in
out.
front. I wonder if he's got a little bat on it. He hasn't. It's leg buys.
Okay.
Signalled.
It must have hit the back of his heel in that case, because it looked to me, and we're not straight on, but it looked pretty straight to me.
We'll get a replay, but I would agree with you. It looked fairly adjacent, didn't it, from this distance? But there's a reason why they don't stick umpires 3 floors up in the air and 100 yards away, isn't there?
Yeah,
So,
and 5 wickets away, yeah.
and 5 wickets away.
And with bad eyesight.
And with that, despite the best club cricket umpires that sit at deep mid-wicket. Final ball of the over then. Zabe on strike, 28 off 18. gives himself room,
Shot.
goes over the offside.
What
It's
a
going to be
shot.
one bounce, two bounces, and skips over the boundary rope for 4. Moves to 32, sorry, and the score now 169 for 6 with 6 deliveries left to go. And crucially, Lancashire have to have 5 fielders inside that 30-yard circle.
I cannot understand Luke Wood bowling that full length there, because all of the fielders on the boundary were all on the leg side. So all of the fielders on the offside were inside the circle. Save's going to back away there to try and hit it that way. So don't let him play that off the front foot. You know, if he wants to get it over those 5 fielders, he's got to try and play that off the back foot. You want to be hitting him in the back hip really, and getting him to hit it into the leg side where your boundary riders are. So it's a poor delivery there from Luke Wood, and well executed by Save.
Yeah, Saki Mahmood then is going to have the responsibility for the final over. 1 for 41 so far from 3 overs. 5 inside that 30-yard circle at mid-off, extra cover, short third, final leg, and square leg. And that's going to be wide. It's going to be a full toss, and that's going to be 4. Put away by Luke Proctor. It feels like the first full toss that Lancashire have bowled this evening that Northamptonshire have managed to put away.
Yeah.
173.
Well, it was a rank delivery, wasn't it? It was wide, and it was a low full toss. And, you know, that's a very, very poor delivery from a bowler who's a high-quality operator.
So 1 for 45 from 3.1. It's been an expensive evening for Saki Mahmood. 173 for 6. 5 balls to go. Proctor still on strike. 9 off 5. That one down, over, long on. Is it? It is. Is it going to run all the way? It does as well. Back-to-back boundaries for Luke Proctor. 13 off 6 now for the Red Bull skipper. And Save stood on his bat handle at the non-strikers end with the best seat in the house.
Really interesting now. I mean, great. Well, ball played, Proc. Didn't get all of it, did he? But he got enough of it. And the white ball was very hard. And as soon as it hit the ground, it ran away. Rather than come straight back to his crease, Luke Proctor checked in with Save. Just wanted to get his thinking about what option Mahmood might take. Very interesting, that. 4 balls to go.
It's a big heave. They're going to take 1, and Save is going to be run out by Joss Butler. Right decision?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, he very nearly got there, didn't he, for a start? The conversation between the two of them would have included, if you miss it, I'm coming through. Joss Butler didn't panic, did he? He did that like he was playing crown green bowls. No rapid movement. It's I've caught it and I'm going to underarm it and hit middle stump, and that's what he did perfectly accurately. It's 177. I think we're just on par there, to be honest. I think that's a very good second half. Rebuild and then kick on. They've done very well. And actually, Lancashire have blinked a bit with the ball. They've bowled some poor deliveries that Northampton have tucked into very well.
Touch. Incredibly selfless from Save, as you'd expect from him, really. He's consistent in a lot of the press work that he does. And his line really is, I want to win games of cricket for Northamptonshire. Don't think he's particularly interested in personal milestones. As nice as they are, that declaration down at Canterbury came when he was on 196. And I dare say he'd have been part of that conversation at that time. And he's just run himself out there trying to get on strike and get as many runs as possible for the Steelbacks. Mahmood to Sanderson. And a straight through Sanderson. Off peg out the ground. And the Lightning have got back-to-back wickets in the final over. It's just two questions here in one. But if Luke Proctor tried to find 1 there, which he could have done, you'd have given Save 3 balls at the end of the innings and sacrificed 1 delivery. So you could have got that around in a slightly less risky fashion.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is, because of that decision, is that an indication that the Steelbacks think that they've got a good number or a number there to take that risk?
Well, firstly, I think Luke Proctor was right to try and hit a boundary off that ball, because he'd gone 4-4. Just keep going, keep going. It was it was a kind of slotty ball as well.
Yeah.
that he missed, trying to hit it too hard possibly. So and then running to the keeper. Yeah, I don't mind that. How often does the keeper hit the stumps? 1 in 5? something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good risk as well. In terms of the number, I think Northampton will be pretty happy with that number. And actually, I don't think Lancashire have bowled brilliantly. Look at the Lancashire batting lineup. 2 or 3 of those fire, they can make mincemeat of any number on any surface. But it's definitely a number that I think Northampton can bowl at.
Absolutely. And at number 10 then.
But as I said earlier on, and I'll just emphasise this point, I think the power play, Lancashire are going to try and get well ahead of the game in the power play.
Well, they've got the batting lineup to be able to do that, haven't they? Pope on strike. 2 balls to go. And it's through Lloyd Pope this time. 3 wickets in a row for the Lightning. A team hat-trick. And Saqib Mahmood is on a hat-trick with George Scrimshaw coming in at number 11. I tell you what, the Yorker's quite a good delivery to bowl to the tail end, isn't it?
It's not a bad delivery, isn't it? And he's now wondering, having gone for over 40 tonight, he'll be thinking, why didn't I go Yorker sooner? Because he's known as a brilliant Yorker bowler. And we've just seen why.
I tell you what, there's been a very good, a more than good, a better than good end to the innings here for Lancashire.
Yeah.
2 wickets, 3 wickets, in fact, in 3 balls, with 1 delivery left to go.
It's kind of stolen back the momentum a little bit, hasn't it?
It has. It's George Scrimshaw, then the last man. Saqib Mahmood on a hat-trick. 3 for 49 off 3.5, with the final ball of the innings about to be bowled.
What he got, Scrimmy? What's he got? I suspect he's going to get a Yorker.
I would imagine that's what will be served. I'll be surprised if it isn't, from following the success that Mahmood's had from the final 2. It's not a Yorker, it's length, it's slot, it's over the offside, there's a fielder underneath it. It's taken, and Saqib Mahmood does get a Vitality Blast hat-trick. Very well bowled, Saqib Mahmood. What a finish to the innings by the Lancashire Lightning. They have bowled Northamptonshire out for 177 from 20 overs. Top scores of 32 and 32 for Ravi Bopara and Save. 30s apiece for Justin Broad and Lewis McManus. 4 wickets for Saqib Mahmood. 2 for 25 for Chris Green, 2 for 24 for Jimmy Anderson, and 1 for 28 from Jack Blatherwick.
Yeah, the best part of 180, we said just over halfway through that 170 was going to be a number that, if you have that in mind to try and get towards, you might go past it, and they did go past it. In fact, that last over was on the low end of expectations, so Northampton will be feeling they've left maybe a few out there. I think there's a few things to say in summary of the Northampton innings. One would be 4 guys got between 25 and 30 odd and didn't go on to make that sort of match winning contribution. Match influencing, yes. 3 wickets up front was very early in the power play, was a real problem, and there had to be a couple of rebuilding innings taken where maybe Lancashire were able to just relax a little bit in terms of how accurately they needed to bowl when Northampton were rebuilding. But then in the middle of the second half, Northampton were really very, very much on top. McManus and Zabe together really, having got themselves in, then really kicked on. And overall, I think it's a reasonable number. Northampton will have to bowl very well and take their chances. But the problem with playing a team of the quality of Lancashire is that any of their first 7 could win the game single-handedly. You know, they've got numerous world-class players as I look down. Salt, Butler, Livingston, Turner. There's 4 world-class T20 players. So halfway, Lancashire will be favourites, but Northampton have got themselves to a number they could defend.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, it's a star-studded batting lineup. Rowie, let's take a 5-minute breather, catch our breath, have a bit of hydration. We'll be back to have a watch of this star-studded and an exciting top order for the Lancashire Lightning.
Can't you see you're my delight? Lady, I just feel like I won't get you out of my mind. I feel love for the first time, and I know that it's, I can tell by the look in your eyes. It's just so you want me to come over, I've got an excuse. Might be holding it high, but I'm holding it loose. Love to talk, then we choke, it's like our necks in the noose. Avoid the obvious, we should be facing the truth. Please welcome back our umpires. Open umpires are Rob Bentley and Simon Widow. And now led by Captain David Willie. Let's hear it for your Northern Steelbacks.
Welcome back, folks. Just a quick breather for us and the players. Northamptonshire Steelbacks. The fielders come out to the middle with the umpires. And Keaton Jennings and Phil Salt walk out to the middle with bat in hand for the Lancashire Lightning. My name is Dan Jadzovic. I'm joined by Phil Rowe. We're powered by Daffabet here at the County Ground. It's first versus second in the North Group of the 2025 Vitality Blast. And the Lancashire Lightning will require 178 runs to win at 8.9 per over. But they're going to have the leading wicket taker in the competition in Ben Sanderson to contend with, and the PCA's MVP for that first half of the competition, Dave Willey, to contend with, who will take the new ball from the David Caper lens.
It sounds a bit, I hope it doesn't sound churlish. My assessment is that whilst Lancashire did bowl Northamptonshire out and for less than 180 at 177, I think they'll be a little bit disappointed with the way they bowled and fielded there. There were quite a few balls that were dived over, a lot of fumbles. They didn't drop any catches, they took their chances. But Yeah, they will think, I think, having got Northants 3 down for about 30 very early on, that they could have restricted them to less than 177. I said a couple of times already, this power play, I think if Lancashire get through the power play unscathed, it's going to be almost impossible for Northants to win. But I do think Lancashire might go hard in the power play, and that might be the way that Northants win the game.
Yeah, well, it's going to be Phil Salt to open up against David Willey. And that is defended into the leg side by Phil Salt. Very respectful and watchful. I'm sure I've heard a quote from Phil Salt at some point in his career with this T20 cricket that he said, "I will aim to hit the first ball for 4 of an innings." He's had a look at one.
Just as well he did, wasn't it? Because it swung and it kept a bit low as well. I've seen him run down the wicket first ball. I mean, he's such a dangerous player. And Keaton Jennings is a brilliant T20 player at the other end.
Might well do it second ball. He does take a little shuffle, but again, defends it into the offside. I suppose they'll have been out there. They'll have got that feedback about the ball just holding and sticking in the surface, and maybe just have to be a little bit more watchful than what they would normally be.
They may be targeting their bowlers as well. Perhaps there'll be a bit of that, won't there? So look out for that. But yeah, this is quite sedate from Salt so far, but he can unleash at any point.
Absolutely. Phenomenally talented white ball cricketer, Phil Salt. That's beautifully played through mid-wicket. Ben Sanderson's going to give chase. That's a long chase, and the ball's going to win. I thought Ben Sanderson was going to get there, Rowie. The ball just kept going and going and going, and Phil Salt gets that 4 off the 3rd ball of the innings.
I mean, nobody thought that ball was going for 4, did they? The batters didn't. You can see the way the batters run, whether they think it's going to be a boundary and they're kind of going through the motions, but they thought too, as I think most people did.
So outfield is quick, isn't it, this evening here in Northampton? Account opened for Salt, an appeal for LBW, but absolutely nothing from umpire Bailey. IPL winner now, Phil Salt. That was his last T20 game. He played over in India for the Royal Challengers Bengaluru.
Wow, I mean, that's an astonishing payday, isn't it?
Certainly is.
That's just a lot of money.
First title for RCB in their history as well. Phil Salt, Jacob Bethel needed a couple of the English lads to get out there and help him out.
Very respectful, isn't it?
It is so far. So that, as you say, that shot through mid-wicket was probably played for 2, wasn't it, really?
I think it was. Yeah.
Just lent on it, really, through the leg side.
That's interesting. Keaton Jennings wanting some feedback from Phil Salt. And to get some, he had to walk 3/4 of the way down the wicket because Phil Salt was really not interested. Be nice to nick him off now.
It certainly would. Vasconcelos is in there at first slip. It's a short ball down the leg side, evades Lewis McManus. It's going to be 4 wide, 5 wide, actually. In fact, that's a real rarity from David Willey there, isn't it? To get that quite so wrong.
It was. It was a real effort ball, this. He really banged that in, and in doing so, lost his line. I think he might have been anticipating something from Salt, like a walk down the wicket, perhaps. And he was at full gas there, David Willey, full pace, and he just lost his line. Unfortunately, it swung.
Yeah, evaded Lewis McManus. A couple of freebies for the Lightning. That's going to be played down to the leg side. That might be 4 as well. But what started and what was a pretty, as you scored it, a respectful over from Phil Salt, ended up conceding 13 in the end.
Yeah, the 5 wide was David losing his line, and that can happen. It doesn't always go for 5, but it swung, didn't it? That was the problem. And Lewis McManus obviously was wide for the ball going across the right hand. That's where he has to be. Didn't really give him much of a prayer. And then the follow-up, what was effectively the 7th ball of the extra ball goes for a boundary as well. So a very good start and a very poor finish.
Well, here is the leading wicket taker in the competition so far this season, Ben Sanderson. 21 wickets at 11s. just put pen to paper himself on a 2-year extension here at the county ground, and I think Phil Salt is in trouble here.
He's in big trouble.
Umpire has brought the bat gauge out to check the legality of Phil Salt's cricket bat, and it's not going through.
That's a problem.
So that normally affects penalty points, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It won't affect today's game as such, but that in theory is supposed to slide both ways along the cricket bat without force, isn't it? From my understanding.
Yeah, no, that's not going anywhere, is it?
That is not going over the splice of Phil Salt's bat, and umpire Bailey is using a fair bit of force there to try and get that through.
I mean, there is a question from here, right, which is he's an opening batter, Phil Salt, and he has faced an over of bowling. Why do they not check it before he faces any balls?
That is a fantastic question. I think there's a few extra questions really with regards to this. Is whose responsibility is it to check? Is it Phil Salt's to when he gets the cricket bats to check they'll go through the gauge? Is there somebody in a coaching room, and I'm not picking on Lancashire here, just generally speaking, that should have one of those gauges to run it through?
Around. Yeah, they'll be around.
Also, the bat maker.
Yeah.
Well, how are they being sent to professional cricketers?
There are so many good questions here, and that wasn't even close.
No,
it wasn't even close.
No, that's.
But what do we do? I mean, also, David Willey might be saying, "Well, I've just bowled at a bloke with an illegal bat."
Yeah,
and he's got 8.
Who gets the illegal bat, Rowie? Do I need to head off here quite sharpish? Is Phil Salt allowed that back, or is it confiscated till the end of? I assume till the end of school, at least. Goes in the box, doesn't it, by the teacher's desk?
Well, there's another gentleman just come onto the field of play.
Must be the match referee, is it?
Is it James Whittaker?
Oh,
yes, I think it is James Whittaker, actually. Yeah.
Bit of commotion to start the second half of the evening's entertainment.
But that, I mean, all your questions were equally as good as mine. But I just can't see why you wouldn't test it before he goes out there. And that's what Darren Lehman's saying is, well, look, yeah, we've had to bowl an illegal bat. So what happens now? That's exactly what Darren Lehman will be saying. How does this work?
Yeah.
How can those runs count? If his equipment is illegal, how can those runs count?
There's another question that we might not know the answer to, but do the umpires have to check every bat that comes out? So it could have been, in theory, then, that Phil Salt went through an innings here without the bat being checked.
Yeah.
Scored whatever he scored in this hypothetical game of cricket now that I'm playing in my head. And everybody would have shook hands at the end of it and said, well played.
Yeah, all of those points, absolutely right. And as I say, it wasn't, I've been around when this was introduced, and bats were a bit sticky sometimes, but they generally got through. But that was not even close.
Oh, well. But that'll be interesting to see.
So the player will pick a penalty up for that. I think I haven't been involved for 5 years now at this level. So it was a disciplinary points fine. Well, not fine, a disciplinary points addition, 3 or 6 points. That's what it used to be.
Yeah. Well, after a while, Sanderson's about to start his first over and starts on the money to Keaton Jennings. I've got a feeling as well was it a Durham cricketer a couple of years ago that ended up having points deducted from Durham's tally as well in the championship? I might have to use this thing called Google to...
and I'll keep an eye on things while you're doing that, because it is quite fascinating. The other thing that's also fascinating, there's so many questions. The bat that Phil Salt now has, we'll just watch this second ball from Ben Sanderson. Keaton Jennings tries to flick it away, gets him on the glove somewhere, and they pick up 1. So Phil Salt, having been found to have a very illegal bat, if I could put it that way, it went nowhere near getting through the gauge. The next bat that comes out of his bag easily goes through the gauge. Now, batters generally like the same weight of bat and the same shape of bat. And bat manufacturers know the Phil Salt shape. An international player, they'll have his shape in the factory. So that's weird that one of them is so much bigger than than another one.
Yeah,
and
well,
so illegal.
good news is the one that he's got in hand does go through the gauge. Jennings is off the mark, Salt's back on strike, and that one is played beautifully through the offside, so beautifully that Phil Salt has not even looked to run there. He has stood and admired that, and he moves to 16, no, 12 now for Phil Salt.
That was a beautiful shot. Cricket has broken out, hasn't it? Look at that. That's on the up. A little bit of width, but not much.
Yeah, it's a cracking shot, isn't it? I have found it. It was Nick Maddinson in 2022, September 22, and Durham received a 10-point deduction in the championship for that breach of the directive. That one straighter. Well, stopped by Lloyd Pope in the end.
And I mean, that's a lot of points, right? For that breach. And so I guess those rules and regulations will have been stipulated up front. They haven't just made that up. So there'll be something similar in place here. The problem is that it doesn't do Northampton any good.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Still the first slip in place. It's going to be another comfortable single taken through square leg by Keaton Jennings. So Jennings here, unsurprisingly, quite happy to give the strike to Phil Salt.
It's a pity. We could do with a third party here, a third person in the box to look at what the regs are in that event in the T20 Blast. I saw Keaton Jennings sort of pat Phil Salt on the back as a sort of calm down, mate. It's okay. Don't worry. Just concentrate. Doesn't appear to have put him off too much.
No, that one's through to the gloves of McManus. And Sanderson, stands with a single teapot, probably along the lines of, if you'd have had your old bat, you'd have nicked that.
Absolutely what Ben Sanderson. I'm sure that's what he said. I mean, you know, those things can happen by accident. But the fact that there's such a difference between the two bats that he's got with him, or two of the bats he's got with him, suggests that somebody should have known.
Yeah, interesting.
And it's his responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. Interesting passage of play. Dave Willey at the end of his mark, ready to go. Keaton Jennings making sure that he's absolutely ready before he gets started, not to the amusement of David Willey. Goes for the ramp, goes straight to Lloyd Pope. And Dave Willey gets the breakthrough. Captain to captain. Keaton Jennings goes for two. Well caught by Lloyd Pope. But the MVP gets another wicket to his name in 2025.
Can we go back to Fat Bat Chat?
Of course we can, yeah.
Okay, so...
You found more information?
Well, I've been given more information by James Mellor, who is one of the coaches here in the pathway. So thanks for this, Mells. The consequences of using an illegal bat. Players or teams may receive warnings for using illegal bats. Runs scored with an illegal bat may be disallowed. Teams can be penalised by having points deducted from their score. It's kind of everything is possible. In 2024, Essex County Cricket Club was docked points after a player used a bat that did not conform to the regulations highlighted. So they were docked points in 2024. So,
well, I assume if it was going to be the invalidation of the runs, that would have happened now, would it? Or would it be totted up at the end of the game? Well, not sure. Anyway, it doesn't get any easier for the Steelbacks, because in at number 3 for the Lightning, Jos Buttler, one of the best, one of the greatest cricketers in this format, in the history of the game, strides out at number 3 to join Phil Salt in the middle.
I was with Rob Newton yesterday, and we talked about the Lancashire side in this game, and he said Jos Buttler, best white ball cricketer he's ever played against.
Back of a length, dropped into the offside. One of my absolute favourite players to watch in white ball cricket.
And so second on that list was Kumar Sangakkara. So, you know, that's how highly Rob Newton, who's played against a few, rates this guy.
Part of the golden generation Josh Butler, double World Cup winner, in the middle at Wantage Road. On slides down the leg side will be another wide. And you can hear as well, can't you, in the crowd? There's almost a hush of expectation.
Yes, there is.
Since Butler's walk to the middle, we've all come to see what's going to happen.
I mean, I wouldn't mind watching him get runs against anyone else, really.
Nice caveat. Oh, it's an inside edge, just gets past off stump.
More news?
Please.
This is a bit more definitive. Worcestershire have received a suspended 2 points deduction for next season's Vitality Blast after their all-rounder Josh Cobb was deemed to have used an illegally sized bat last July. So a deduction of 2 points, but it is suspended. So it's not really a deduction, is it?
No, I would say not, no. Good start this by David Willey. 3 dots. It's Josh Butler. There was the one down the leg side, which just helped the score tick along to 21 for 1. But Butler, at the minute, not able to get off the mark. There really is that hush around the ground, isn't there? Uses his feet at David Willey, can't get bat on it. 4 dot balls now for Josh Butler.
Well, I've said a few times I thought Lancashire would go hard in the power play. And it's actually, I can't assess whether they would have done or not. The whole bat thing seems to have had a life of its own. It's difficult to know. We do know is Josh Butler isn't hitting the ball yet.
Not yet. Final ball of Dave Willey's over. It shuffles and advances down to him. He's hit that one.
For 6.
He's hit that all the way for 6 into the hospitality. The way he hit that, I thought, well, that's just going to bounce inside the rope there. And that's cleared the boundary rope here at the county ground by probably about 15, 20 feet there by Josh Butler. Off the mark with a 6. 27 for 1 after 3. What a shot.
I think the conversation with Rob Newton yesterday, somebody who's been out there and seen how hard balls are hit, was about how Josh Butler really doesn't particularly need to get his feet very close to the ball or his body weight into the ball because his wrists are so good. Even if he's miles away from the pitch of the ball, he gets his wrist going through the ball. It's the middle of the bat. That's hand-eye coordination. That's skill. And away it goes. And that was one of those. Yeah, he wasn't anywhere near getting... He got down the wicket to get closer to the ball. Still a decent length ball. And he hit it for 6 with no problem.
Yeah, phenomenal cricketer. Ben Sanderson continues in the power play. Phil Salt back on strike. Slip has gone now, though. That's down the leg side. That's going to be 4, is it? It is. Beat safe save down in front of those that are sat in the ComSave stand this evening. And Salt gets a boundary off the first ball of the over. Moves to 17.
Poor ball, wasn't it, Ben Sanderson? Most players at this level took into that pretty well. And I guess Phil Salt must be rattled because he won't know what's going to happen. He'll be determined to make sure his team win the game, that's for sure.
It's through the offside. That is just going to be 1, though. Tim Robinson, the New Zealand international, fielding out on that boundary. It's a good arm in, isn't it?
It is. We saw him fielding in the championship game here where he made his debut. And we said at the time, he's certainly Northampton don't lose out between him and Matt Bretsky as a boundary fielder because they're both lightning and both got bullet arms.
Josh Butler back on strike, 6 off 5. 2 fielders out are safe save at deep backward square, and then Tim Robinson at just in front of point on the offside. And dropped into the leg side for the single, 2 safe save.
Whilst all that's going on, although it doesn't seem this way, Lancashire are scoring at 9.5 and over.
Yeah, that first over, wasn't it? David Willey bowled beautifully, conceded 13 from it. That's 6 off the final ball of the last over as well. The start of this over, they were 3 runs ahead of where Northamptonshire were at the same time.
That's nicely bowled. That's just a regulation Ben Sanderson delivery, isn't it? Top of the stumps. Nicely covered up by Phil Salt. There's a lot of respect shown to Ben Sanderson, isn't there? Just signed a 2-year contract extension. And I would imagine that Northampton are very, very happy to have done that business.
Oh, absolutely. I hope it's business that was that's made everybody happy all round. Ben Sanderson, the club, the supporters as well. Got another 2 years of this absolute magician with red or white ball in hands. Salt there loading up for a big shot. The first real sign of aggression from Phil Salt.
The problem, I mean, say the problem, most clubs with a bowler of 36 years of age will have been thinking, well, one year, we'll go in with 1 year. The problem is there are plenty of clubs around the country who'd signed Ben Sanderson for 2 years. So if you want to keep him, you've got to give him that. And he's earned that right.
Absolutely right, he has. Last ball of the over. That one on the pads, an appeal from McManus, nothing from Sanderson, a dot ball to finish. So despite the 4 off the first delivery, it's a good finish, a good comeback by Ben Sanderson. And after 4 overs, the score is 33 for 1.
So we're about even Stevens, aren't we? Thereabouts. It was very casual the way Phil Salt tried to play that last ball. It was into the pads, and I would have expected him to try and accelerate the bat through it and clip it away into the leg side, hopefully missing the fielder on the leg side boundary. Just kind of gave it up a little bit. I don't know if he's been rattled by events. I'm sure he's a decent fella, Phil Salt. I don't know him. I've heard nothing but decent things about him. So
yeah, I mean, my interactions with him have been nothing but positive.
Yeah, so. Of course, he's one of your boys, isn't he, from your neck of the woods? So yeah, he'll be rattled by that. And obviously, the longer he's out in the middle, the more settled he'll become. Luke Proctor, he has got a bit of a golden arm at times. This might be one where Lancashire might target and try and get on top of him. And he starts with quite a big wide down the leg side. That is a brilliant take by the Northampton keeper, Lewis McManus, who caught that horizontal, full-length horizontal going down the leg side. So maybe the plan to Josh Butler is no width, and Luke Proctor's got that a bit wrong. It was a great bit of wicket keeping.
Yeah, superb, wasn't it? By Lewis McManus, well tidied up.
Well, that's nipped. Back of a length, and that did nip on Josh Butler. Jabs a bat on it so they can rotate. But I think, yeah, Butler's so experienced. He will know from the way that he's seen the cricket in the first half there that it isn't a wicket you can necessarily go at straight, go from ball one. And it's a score at 177 where you can get yourself in. You've got time to do that. That horrid Phil Salt, didn't he? Tried a big blow. It's probably the most aggressive shot he's tried to play, whacking it away towards the kebab stall over there.
Becomes a bit of a cliche, doesn't it, on the live stream, that Luke Proctor's quicker than you think.
But he is.
He genuinely is. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why it's a cliche. There's a reason why it's said a lot, but he can rush you. It's a pretty gentle run-up, isn't it? And a very, very strong shoulder.
It is. And it hurries on to you as it did then. That one horizontal was what? Well, wasn't the only thing hurrying, because Vasconcelos hurried to his right, got a good dive in and a good hand on it and prevented the run.
I think really the tumble there carried so much momentum for Vasconcelos. They ended up tumbling back onto his feet as well, which just put any thought of a single.
He's loved that.
Good. That's a fantastic effort, wasn't it? He took a screamer here earlier this season.
Oh, that's beautifully driven and beautifully fielded by Ravi Bopara. In extra cover there, away to his right, got a good hand on it.
That's 2 fours, Rowie, that have been saved in back-to-back deliveries there from Vasconcelos and Bopara. Vasconcelos still telling Lloyd Pope how good of a bit of fielding it was.
It looks like Northampton are trying to use the pitch, aren't they? It'll be Rory Clive very, very much behind these plans. Will be saying exactly that, which is hold your line and length for as long as you possibly can. And that is exactly what Luke Proctor is doing. You can hear through the effects mic the crowd getting behind this as well. Every dot ball being roundly applauded. The crowd are sensing something. The run rate, which was at 9.5, is now down to 7.2. That in itself is not a great problem for Lancashire. They've got a lot of time ahead of them. But it does say Northampton bowled a lot of dot balls recently. Proctor to finish this, his first over. Top of the stumps again. Someone needs to get into the stumps. Well, Northampton had 4 fielders surrounding that ball at the end, and if that doesn't show desire in the field, then nothing does. And a really good hand for Luke Proctor, the red ball captain. He started with a massive wide, but it was brilliantly stopped by Lewis McManus, but then came back fantastically well in that over.
The Steelbacks, I'm sure, one of the conversations will be is in recent weeks, they haven't played that well here, have they? That break in that format came at quite a good time, I thought, for Northamptonshire. They'd lost 2 on the bounce, both of them at home, both on those big Friday nights that the county and the club will look to feast on, really, in the modern economic structure of the game. And they'll know that they need to put a show on here for the supporters.
Absolutely. Justin Broad replaces Ben Sanderson from the Lynn Wilson end. And he's holding length as well. It's good stuff. And again, you'll hear the round of applause for the dot ball. And what Northampton are saying to Lancashire is, if you want to score a boundary particularly, you're going to have to take me off the bails, off the top of the stumps. And you've got to get it through these 7 fielders who are in there saving 1. So Salt does come down the wicket in response to that and drop kicks it. He gets it on the half volley, lifts it beautifully over wide long on 1 bounce for 4. Something had to change, something had to give, and Phil Salt came down the wicket a little bit and hit that very comfortably.
Yeah, just shuffled down, didn't he? Justin Broad's another one of those cricketers that's just a bit quicker than what you think, isn't he, as well? Not quite to the same extent as Luke Proctor, but that one finding the middle of Phil Salt's bat very nicely.
He didn't try and overhit it, did he? Just knew that if he got it over the infield, it was going to be 4. What's the response going to be? Well, it's a similar length ball, similar length ball to the first one. Got his length back, and Phil Salt tried to loft that over in the same kind of general direction with a square of bat, but he didn't get anywhere near the middle of the bat. And another day, that could have found the hands of David Willey at mid-on, but it evaded him. He picks up 2. But enough, say Lancashire, okay, we know your game. You're going to bowl line and length, sort of 4-day lines and lengths, and we're going to have to make a response to that. So far, Phil Salt's got away with that 6 off the first 3 balls of the over. Fielder has gone out now to mid-wicket. David Willey's gone to wide, long on. It's got more of a feel of a 50-over game, hasn't it, than a T20 game at the minute. With the bowlers really in that middle, almost like the middle period of those games when the bowlers kind of just try and bowl straight and back of a length.
Yeah, well, as you say, they would have had that instant feedback from having been out there themselves. They'd have watched and maybe enjoyed is the wrong word, but learnt from those Lancashire Lightning seamers and saw the success that they got from this surface.
Butler on strike now. What's he going to bring? Oh, my goodness. He's going to bring that. And that's going to go all the way for 6. He doesn't care what length it is. I mean, that shot, that was a predetermined, I'm just going to hit this ball down the ground, almost whatever length you bowl it, because it's not a bad length, this. Just slightly fuller than he wanted it. But Butler, that was predetermined. Had it been a little bit shorter, that ball would have been the same shot. It just dragged it a bit wider. And he's hit that so comfortably. This is what we've been worried about, isn't it? It's what we've been looking forward to, but worried about at the same time. Now, get out of the over, Justin Broad. Bangs it in. Smashed into the offside, but straight at Ravi Bopara. So there's no further run. And that is the level that Josh Butler operates at. You have to bowl an incredibly good delivery for him not to think he can hit a boundary off it.
Yeah, phenomenally good striker. Dropped in the crowd as well. We've had one absolute phenomenal catch taken earlier on this evening, but unfortunately dropped in the crowd that time around. I think he was reminded by his mates a couple of times the fact that maybe that was a catch that he should have taken, but.
So you probably heard there in the background, Lloyd Pope is on, the Australian leg spinner. He's got 2 right-handers in, so that's good news because he's got the longer boundary on the leg side, which will give him some protection. He's got 3 fielders out on that leg side boundary, 2 on the offside boundary. Firmly driven to one of those guys who's save on the long off boundary.
Do you think we'd see David Willey would look at save as a bowling option this evening?
It's possible. I think it's possible. Maybe he's been a bit lightly bowled. I think Bopara's been a bit lightly bowled as well. I would say that. But then, they've won most of the games.
Yeah, Bopara has bowled 7 overs in 8 games.
And he's been tidy as well.
Yeah.
I think. Fired in there from Pope. But I think Lancashire will want to get on top of the spinner. And they get a chance to. It's pulled around the corner. It's going to go for 4. It was a drag down delivery from Pope. He's just indicating to McManus. I don't know if that was the attempted googly, perhaps. Let's have a look at it on replay. May have been. It certainly didn't offer to do anything in terms of going away from the right-hander, and it just sat up. And the only concern really was whether Salt was going to find the boundary fielder, but he's too good for that. And that was a comfortable boundary to him. It's nicely hit. They'll be pushing for 2 into the leg side there. That's well fielded by the captain. That's brilliant fielding. They very quickly declined any thought of a second when they realised it was David Willey. That's the esteem he's held in. Great return to the bowler as well. Oh, that has bounced. Oh, wow. Now get loose, save, because that really did bounce. And Josh Butler must have sent something because he didn't play any sort of shot at it just as well for him. Just knocks that one away. That was a very much, those last 2 balls were very much a sort of a, well, we've kind of won this over. We've got 7 or 8 off it and we don't want to lose a wicket. 57 for 1 at the end of the 7th over. Salt is on 32. He of the fat bat that's been removed. And he is now with the headmaster. Come see me. 32 off 26 for Phil Salt. 16 for Josh Butler off 12. But a couple of those 16 have been 6s. So in between times, he has been subdued. And as if by magic, save appears.
That doesn't happen very often, does it?
That doesn't happen. But I think it, whether it was planned before this, I don't know. But the ball from Pope that really bounced perhaps encouraged David Willey to bring on save.
Slides it through, doesn't he? Quick through the air, bowls nice and flat in the T20 cricket.
He does. Doesn't leave the stumps. That's nicely driven. Oh, he's hit that so hard. That's brilliantly fielded by Justin Broad on the boundary. I thought he'd just pushed that for 1. And then as I look down, Justin Broad is sprinting and diving full length to his left to prevent 4. He absolutely smashed that whilst appearing to just push it. Check that bat. Check that bat out. Gets away with that one.
It's another one of those dangerous low full tosses, isn't it? That
it is.
Haven't been put away so far this evening. We've spoken about the pitch being a bit too paced. It turns out that area of air just above the the surface is a bit dodgy as well.
Salt having a good look at the leg side boundary to know exactly where those fielders are. It's hit on the top of the bounce. Oh, this could be tight if he goes to the keeper's end, but yeah, they've got home quickly. Fumble in the outfield from Tim Robinson. There'd been a number of fumbles, and what Lancashire did really well was they ran the first run as though they were going to run a second, and then if there's any fumble, you generally get in. That's what they did well there.
Yeah, ran straight on the fumble, didn't they? Being ably supported by the Steelbacks supporters in the ground, though, is Tim Robinson down there on the offside boundary.
That's almost in the slot, just a little bit over length between slot and half volley. And Salt lost his shape a wee bit there, trying to overhit it. First time he's done that. Just get the feeling with Josh Butler, he's a very hard man to put under any pressure because he knows the range of options that he's got. He missed out on the full toss, didn't seem to bother him because he knows he can hit a 6 at any point. That's nicely bowled from Save. He saw the advancing Josh Butler and then altered his length beautifully. Not a bad first over from Save.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, after 8 overs, Rowie, the Steelbacks were 74 for 3, so 10 runs in front, but crucially had already lost those 3 wickets. It's going to be Lloyd Pope to continue from the David Capel end. First over went for 8. Runs required now for Lancashire, 9.5. Target of 178. Butler's on 20 off 16. Salt 22 off 19.
Interesting change in the field there. I'll come back to that.
Back of a length and played through the offside by Josh Butler for 1.
Yeah, the captain, the red ball captain, Luke Proctor, now going back behind square on the offside for Phil Salt, and he almost goes to an extra cover for Josh Butler. So horses for courses with the fielders.
It's well bowled.
That's a lovely length, that.
Can't do anything with it. Just where you can't fully trust the surface. Salt 35. Oh, slog sweep, bounces over the bat for Lloyd Pope. Bit of top spin maybe on that one. Getting a bit of bite out of the surface.
I think Phil Salt has been rattled by what's gone on ahead. He's got 35. He's taken 30 balls about it. Just doesn't look quite himself.
One will be a single out to Vasconcelos.
You know, I said earlier on, and I caught myself really because it wasn't the biggest claim in the world that boundary is very important. But I just think there are a lot of dot balls because the ball is sticking a little bit. There's a couple that have bounced a wee bit. More dot balls than normal.
That going to be another single. Vasconcelos, who, as you pointed out at the start of the over, was pushed behind square, so that's gone straight to the man. 3 runs off the first 5 balls for Lloyd Pope.
Shot coming?
Wow. You'd think, wouldn't you? Can he get out of the over? He can.
It's nicely bowled.
Takes all the pace off of it. Phil Salt, you could see in the body language there, loaded up for something impressive, didn't he? An extravagant. And it's 4 runs off the over. After 9, 68 for 1. And Safe will be replaced from the Lynn Wilson centre end with the lesser seen Ravi Bopara.
Yeah, he's been lightly bowled, which is quite amazing. He's now in his 2nd year at Northampton, the T20 side, and in his 1st year, just bowled brilliantly almost every night. Pretty much always bowled his 4 overs and was always difficult to get away. And he helped pick wickets up for other bowlers. Teams seemed to be happy to sit on Ravi and go at 6s, and were then holding out to bowlers the other end.
It's tricky, isn't he? Feels like the bowler that could bowl you 7 different deliveries in a 6-ball over. To Ravi Bopara, and there is one of the 6. Dot ball to start. Phil Salt just inquiring as to the line of that delivery.
It was wide, but not as wide as your bat, Phil. The umpire might say.
Umpire Rowe would, by the sounds of it.
Might offer that.
Dot ball to the start. Run rates required now up over 10s for the Lightning, and that is into the leg side. Saves underneath it. Oh, misjudges it, but does brilliantly to keep it inside the field of play, I think. Doesn't get it right. Ends up getting himself into an awkward position, but saves his team 3 in the end.
Ravi's got a double teapot on there, hasn't he? I mean, firstly, Save was a brilliant field. That was there, wasn't it? He set off, then stopped, and then went a second time. And that hesitation meant that he couldn't get to the ball as it died. It was so badly hit. It was deceiving. Well, it was deceptive.
Yeah, it's a given excuse. It's come out of those bricks, isn't it, I suppose, on that side of the ground there. That one is going to be 6, though. That is so easy by Josh Butler. That is crashed into the brick wall on the edge of that perimeter road here at the county ground with nothing more than a flick of the wrist over square leg.
Butler's, it's almost like it doesn't matter what the total is that Butler's chasing. He'll get it as long as he doesn't get out. Yeah. That's how good this bloke is.
He is. There was one of those books written by one of the big analysts in the world of cricket. And in those meetings, how do you get Joss Butler out early?
Yeah.
Or what if you don't?
You lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. The same was true years ago, before analysts were really analysts, when the teams had a chat themselves, maybe in the hotel bar the night before. And it was often said that visiting teams about David Sales was where we bowl channel, do we go straight to it? And they just hope you get him out early.
Yeah.
So the ball's got a bit of a brick in it now, hasn't it?
I'm not surprised with the way that was hit or dispatched, demolished, whatever you want to go. I mean, it was gracefully demolished, wasn't it, by Joss Butler over square leg. I mean, it's a short leg side boundary, but I mean, that would have been 6 anywhere in the world. So the batters are going to have a drink and a change of gloves. Umpires are going to select a new or a used second hand, let's call it that, Kookaburra cricket ball for the Steelbacks and David Willey, who was on site to make sure that he could offer any assistance if required.
He looks pretty happy with whatever it is they've got.
Give it a good polish before he underarms it back to Ravi Bopara. Safe save took a bit of time there. He was down on his haunches for a while. Very, very disappointed with himself.
Because it's Phil Salt, because Phil Salt hits the ball nearly 90 metres, most times it's a 6, he's entitled to just give himself a fraction of a second just to try and line that up. That's what cost him, though, because the ball was dying on him. It looked worse than it was, I think.
Yes, I would agree with you. Change of pace again, this time width on offer on the offside. Just the single taken out to Tim Robinson.
These two are taking time to get themselves in, aren't they? Butler's, 3 6s, and he's still only 29 off 20, 30 out of 34 for Salt. Just feel if Northampton can nip one of these out, getting a new one in might slow things down.
Yeah, that's
a poor delivery.
Probably not going to be the delivery to do that, isn't it? As it sails over Justin Broad at wide long off. 2 6s in the over, 1 to Salt and 1 to Butler.
What Phil Salt does very well here is he commits no weight forward at any point. And so when it is a slower ball, he can just power through it off the back foot.
Final ball of the over. It's gone for 14. 9.5 overs have been bowled. It's a low full toss and gets away with it. A bit of a crowd catch. In the end, halfway stage then, 82 for 1. 7 behind where the Steelbacks were at the same stage. But, as I said, a couple of overs to go. Crucially, still got 2 wickets in the hutch, and impressively, the 2 out there in the middle are still Phil Salt and Joss Butler.
I've never seen a game where so many full tosses have gone for so few runs and picked up a wicket. And that wicket was Ravi Bopara, who is on 30-odd and playing very well. So Scrimshaw is going to come on at the David Capel end. I think he's grown during his time with Northants and during this campaign as well. He's been used in this middle overs period, and his job really has been to bowl a very, very tight line over the stumps, but not go too short.
Yeah, he's on that line, on that length to start with. He had certainly the performance of his season so far up at Old Trafford earlier this year, 4 for 19 from 4 overs to help secure that victory for the Steelbacks in Manchester.
He's got the captain for company at mid-on, and he's got the senior pro best bowler in the competition for company at mid-off. So he's going to get plenty of input. Just keep it very, very simple. That's when he's at his best. He's done a good job in general. As you say, he was brilliant at Old Trafford that night. It was a good campaign.
Yes, Salt gives himself room, and that is going to be 6 again. Same area as the 6 in the previous over, just from the different end this time. Phil Salt moves to 50 off 37.
Oh, that's a great shot. He made that line into a hip ball and was able to swivel it around and go with the wind over long on for 6. The actual line of the ball was probably about 4th stump, but it was pretty clear to Phil Salt. They'll have done their work. They know that Scrimshaw's going to bang it in over the stumps. So he made it into a line that he wanted.
Yeah, and I think
changing the ball, that's interesting.
It didn't last very long, did it? So we're going to get a second replacement in this innings. Quite sure that one would have hit down towards the Jackson Grundy stand. There's a bit of paving, isn't there, down there, and the edge of that indoor school as well, whether it's just hit the wrong part of that, but be another change. Yeah, 50 off 37 for Phil Salt. His first appearance for Lancashire in the 2025 T20 Blast. His last appearance for the Lightning. First ball duck down at Hove in the quarterfinal last, if you can call September summer, against Sussex. So the return this time around, much happier for Phil Salt.
I think he hit the floodlight stanchion, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's what caused the damage to the ball. It was a heck of a shot, wasn't it?
That remarkable cricket shot. Just created it, didn't he?
He did.
It wasn't there to be played over fine leg for 6, but Phil Salt got it there. 9 wickets in hand still for Lancashire, and Phil Salt tries to go again. Doesn't get it this time. Keeps maybe a touch lower than what he thought.
This is, Phil Salt is exclusively targeting the leg side. Northants will have wanted Phil Salt to hit to the leg side. It's the long boundary. But at this level, this international level, the world franchise cricketer that he is, he's saying, well, the boundary's not big enough for me, actually. Also, I've got a bit of wind going that way. So if I get it up, I'm backing myself. And that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah.
It might put some players off, but the very best, no.
Absolutely. Can George Scrimshaw respond? Phil Salt goes again. I think that's only going to be one, isn't it? Justin Broad comes off the boundary rope. So that, again, Northamptonshire recognise how strong of a position that is for both Salt and Butler. They've got one of their best fielders down at a wide fine leg at the moment.
Yeah, you wouldn't have said that, would you, when this game was invented, in terms of a professional game, that you want your best fielder at long leg? Or one of your best fielders, let's put it that way.
Certainly is one of them. 2 left in the over then. Scrimshaw's gone for 8 or 4. Slower ball down towards David Willey, the captain. So it does get a dot ball, but it feels like the damage has been done in this over. One of the bowlers to target, correct. Maybe Scrimshaw.
Absolutely correct. The way that Josh Butler played that was, we've won this over, I'm not getting out. If you want me to chip that to David Willey trying to go over his head, I'm not going to do that. He has the look of a man who wants to walk off carrying the stump at the end with a crowd around him.
Yeah. Quite happy to watch Phil Salt from the non-strikers end.
One has
bounced, and he will take a single. I think it comes off the glove, does it?
Oh, I thought that was glove, yeah.
Oh, it's leg buys, in fact. So one more added to the score then. 91 for 1 after 11, and Lancashire require 87 to win from 54.
Every time Northants build pressure, they then go for a maximum, don't they? And, fear of repeating myself, the boundary count in this game, the boundary percentage in this game, I think is going to be quite high.
Yeah.
And as a defending team, Northampton trying to defend this 177, you'd be quite happy with that generally. The problem is that you've got Phil Salt and Josh Butler at the crease, both of whom are in and have put on 70 already with power to add. So that's the issue. Northampton desperately need a wicket.
Yeah, and David Willey knows that more than anybody, doesn't he? He's brought himself back into the attack.
Exactly that.
He's conceded 20 from the 2 overs to get the wicket of Keaton Jennings. But he knows this partnership needs to be broken as soon as possible if the Steelbacks are going to be successful. So the captain brings himself back. Starts with an in-swinging Yorker to Josh Butler, who plays down to Ravi Bopara for a single.
That was another shot. Almost, what you don't want Josh Butler to do is hit you for 6, because he can do that. But almost the thing you really don't want to see is him just milk you a little bit, because he's there for the long haul. Salt might be the main aggressor in this partnership at the moment.
I think so. Short leg side. That is a brilliant Yorker by David Willey. Dug out well by Phil Salt. Just a single down to Vasconcelos. I mean, they were respectful at the start, weren't they, against David Willey? Phil Salt in particular. I wonder whether, again, if they'll frustrate the Steelbacks captain here and almost nullify him from the game, from the attack, take what's on offer and have a go at somebody else. Well, it's not the case as Butler advances, plays over the offside and gets 4. Over cover this time for Josh Butler. Doesn't get all of it, but gets enough of it. Moves to 35 off 25. 81 off 51 is the equation.
Yeah, he comes down the wicket there nicely, doesn't he? Left, right, left is his foot movement. He doesn't really go that far leg side of it, but he creates width with his wrists. Cuts across the back of the ball. Gets the ball over extra cover for 4. It's a great bit of batting.
Superb. 81 off 51. Goes again, and David really beats him between pads and leg stump. 3 to McManus for a dot ball. Still swinging this ball.
It is, yeah. The 3rd ball of the innings, isn't it? Or maybe even the 4th. Certainly the 3rd, I think.
Yeah.
2 have been replaced. Come on, lads, says Luke Proctor. Northants know they desperately need a wicket.
Not going to get it there. It's going to be powerfully struck down towards Ravi Bopara, who's patrolling that long off boundary.
It was a disappointing over, wasn't it, from Ravi?
Yeah, it was.
I think Lancashire played him beautifully. You know, they mostly sat back. What Ravi Bopara wants is people on the front foot coming at him. And he can drop it in and mix it up. If you sit him back, it's very difficult for him, and they played that brilliantly.
Certainly did. Last ball of the over. It's gone for 7 from the first 5. It's a good Yorker, big appeal from Dave Willey and Lewis McManus. Not out, says the umpire. Phil Salt remains there on 52, and after 12 overs, the score is 98 for 1.
So 80 more needed. In 8 overs.
Even I can work that one out.
The run rate required 10. There you go.
Just in case I could.
That's why I get the big bucks.
I'm glad our mathematics there came up with the same number as well. Otherwise, that would have been embarrassing, wouldn't it?
I think this is a really good bowling change because I think Pope, the leg spinner, you know, the wrist spinner is also a risk spinner, but Northants have to take some risk here. They have to break this partnership. They do that, they get a new one in. Suddenly 10 and over looks a lot harder than it does for these two. Oh, and it very nearly paid off first ball. He held it back and held it back. It's beautifully bowled by Pope. I think he's bowled quite well here tonight. And Butler was through the shot early. Butler's cross with himself, maybe because he missed it. But it missed the stump by a small margin. Moral victory. And that's nicely bowled as well by Pope. Yeah, a wicket here and then a few dots and then there's a run out and then Northants have suddenly got 2 new in and then the game, suddenly that rate becomes 12 with 2 new batters. That's a very different game. But these 2 batters have played a bit of T20 cricket around the world. They'll know that. Powerfully struck, but straight to Vasconcelos in front of the Wendell stand.
The Wendell Pavilion, the Wendell Marquee.
The Wendell Marquee, the gazebo.
The gazebos.
The Wendell gazebos. So Butler has just become a little becalmed. Hasn't played anything particularly violent for a while. And does so there and gets away with it. Got stuffed really out of sight by Pope, who's bowled very, very well. I think he's had a quiet tournament so far, the Australian overseas, a replacement for Ashton Agar. He's done okay. Nothing spectacular. He's bowled very well tonight and he's been a bit unlucky so far. But that one is not going to help him. That's swept away by Phil Salt. And the moment it left the bat, you knew it was going to go all the way. And so it does for 6. That's just broken some pressure in that over. Could be a leg spinner, eh?
who would be a leg spinner. 65 required off 42. I hope that's not something to look into, but I think the scorers have already chalked up another 6 off the final ball of
they've gone back.
Lloyd Pope's over. Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come from a Steelbacks perspective.
It was just showing 12.6 overs, wasn't it?
It was.
Last ball of the over. And 6 and 1 is not 6 and 2 halves. They get back, no run taken. Scrimshaw was quickly off the edge of the circle to prevent the run. A 9 off the over, but 6 in 1 hit. And that's what I was sort of been getting at all along. That over proves my point there. It's difficult to score. The scoring rate in terms of how many balls you score off is difficult, and boundaries are going to count for a lot. David Willey is going to finish his 4 overs. He's got the ball in hand. Northant's racing round to try and make sure they don't do what Lancashire did and fall foul of the cut-off time. 21.34 the cut-off is showing. 71 to win, 42 balls remaining, a wicket now, and Northants are probably back on even terms. Squeezed out. David Willey's gone very full and he's done it very well, giving the batters nothing to hit under. That's what the batters want, something they can hit under, particularly Josh Butler. He cracks those wrists late, can send the ball soaring, piercing through the air, but he hasn't been able to do that.
Interesting, he's not really looked for one of those iconic ramps either, has he? Those fielders have been up inside the circle.
Very true. That one's in the slot. It's driven down the ground. It's going to be caught. Oh, it just doesn't reach Luke Proctor. He comes off the boundary as fast as he can, and just didn't have time to get to the ball before it just pitched in front of him. And in the end, he did well because he took it on the. He had to turn his body to the side and got it on the backside, I think, to knock it down.
It just didn't quite get there, did he? I think there was a cry from somewhere in the crowd of why didn't he dive?
Yeah, well, because he would never have got anywhere near it, would he? This he could get near. This is lofted by. Oh, it's going to land short of him. Spins away, so they get 2. And you've got to say, trying to be as impartial as I can, that a 50-50 going Northant's way would be good. Phil Salt kept his bat, he'd be out by now. Giving him back. The other thing to say is that these two are not going to keep clothing it.
No, they certainly won't.
Something's going to happen, Dan. Something's going to give. And there it is. That's going to be 6 straight down the ground. It's a long way down here. It's landed just under the commentary position. It's a long boundary. But that one did come out of the middle of the bat. Beautifully struck. Northants can count themselves a little bit unlucky in the last few overs. They've created some kind of half chances that just haven't gone to hand, have landed between 2 fielders. But you always sense that Josh Butler was going to do that at some point.
It's a great length to be hit from 6 or hit 4-6 from, isn't it?
Oh, that's harsh. That's wide. It's given wide. We might see a replay of that. It looked to me that Butler played over the top of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Josh Butler might have hit the floor on the way.
Yes.
On the way through. That would have been the noise, or through the noise through the effects mic. Phil Salt offering Dave Willey little to no sympathy there whatsoever. Not going to improve the mood of the captain, is it? What? But he has got an extra delivery to play with. Can he make it count?
Yeah, that's the shot of a man who says, no, we've won this over. The Will's bowled a few wides, hasn't he? Bowled the one that in the first over. I think he's bowled a couple of others as well. Yeah, he has another one to the right-handed down the leg side. And that one, the last one there, I think that was a bit harsh. I don't know if this is the replay of that ball. So we're probably going to prove that it was absolutely wide. Oh, I think that's tight. On the angle, I think that's tight. Anyway, it was tight. The call went the other way. You couldn't say it was an absolute howler of a decision, could you? You can understand why he gave it wide. Always looks worse when it goes across, I think. And that's nicely played. It was a low full toss, and Phil Salt opened the face of the bat to get it square. He knew where Robinson was on the boundary, so got it square, got it out of the middle of the bat for 4. So a disappointing end to that over. A big over, that 16 off that over all told. 55 now needed, 36 balls remaining, 9.2 the rate has come down to.
100 partnership, Broey, as well, between Phil Salt and Joss Butler. Joss Butler's on 48 off 34 deliveries. It doesn't really feel like he's played a shot in anger here either.
It's been sixes that have allowed him to sort of almost get out of jail in that way. But I was a little bit critical of the 4 Northants batters who got around 30, and none of them kicked on to make a match influence and contribution. Already we've got 2 guys in who've got 48 and 64, and that is influencing the game. And at the minute, it's influencing it for a Lancashire win. That's only going to be a single. It's hit very powerfully, but straight to the man on the boundary. Scrimshaw replacing Pope. Yeah, I thought Pope bowled nicely there. Another day. Could have picked up 2 or 3 wickets. What are his numbers there, Dan?
None for 21 from 3 overs. So going at 7s.
He's bowled a lot better than that, I think.
Luke Proctor conceded 3 runs from his over. I don't know why we've not seen Luke Proctor back into the attack yet.
It's going to be, you'd say it'd be Proctor or Scrimshaw, wouldn't you? And you'd probably want Procky to bowl one of the last 3 overs. Might have to bowl 2 of them, perhaps.
I mean, the Steelbacks, they've used 8 bowlers, so they've certainly gone through the deck of cards, haven't they, with regards to their options this evening.
That was close to leg stump, wasn't it? Phil Salt's just asking why, well, not asking, he's having a bit of banter with Rob Bailey. When the batter goes across, the wide line goes across with him, and Rob Bailey said, well, that's about fair. The bowler's got to have some margin. I think Salt's going to go. I think this over, 4 balls of it left. I think they're going to go. Well, he certainly tried to go there, but it was a slower ball by Scrimshaw. Or do we need to be throwing that? Okay.
I think on the angle there that Dave Willey's going to be backing that up. So you've got your captain backing up. Yes, he's on the boundary, but
the problem is though, if it is the stumps.
Yes.
Throw it if you think you can run him out. If you don't think you can run him out, don't throw it, because if it hits the stumps and deflects, it can cost you 1 or 2. And a lot of T20 games go down to the last couple of balls, don't they? Well bowled, Scrimshaw, slower ball, completely deceived the batter. That's a beautiful cricket shot, Joss Butler. There's nothing wrong with that delivery from George Scrimshaw. Brings up Butler's 50, moves on to 53 off 36 balls. And he would probably admit he's not played his finest innings here, but in terms of the context of this game, it's been a very fine innings in support of his team chasing this number down. That's well bowled by George Scrimshaw. It was sort of leg bail, good length ball, and Butler hits it for 4 over extra cover. And that's how good he is.
Phenomenally good. 91st career 50 in T20 cricket for Joss Butler.
And he's not finished yet, is he? He's got this one up and over. It's not going to be caught. It's going to land just over the head of Ravi Bopara. Just over his head. So close to him did it land that it just bounced up and he put his hand down and it landed in it after it had bounced. It was arcing away from him. There's no question that he could have caught that. It was always out of his reach. But again, another miss hit drops between 2 fielders because I think it's Zave on the Vasconcelos was coming in off the boundary. It landed between them. Ben Sanderson is limbering up at mid-off. It's been a good over from Scrimshaw so far. That is hit incredibly hard. Straight to Tim Robinson for a single. So not a bad over there, all told, by George Scrimshaw. Well bowled, young man. 47 now needed off the last 5 overs. 9.4.
Yeah, 7 ahead from where the Steelbacks were at the same stage. This was in that period of Lewis, McManus and Save, that bit of a rebuild. They were 124 for 5 at the same stage.
And it feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were 7 ahead, but it feels like they're ahead. And also they've only fired one of their bullets so far, only 1 wicket down. But if anyone can get Northants a wicket, it's this guy, because he's got more than anyone else, and actually a lot more than anyone else in this competition so far. That's Ben Sanderson from the Lynn Wilson end. He'll be bowling at Phil Salt. Oh, Phil Salt hacks it, and he's going to get 4 for that. It's going to go down to the dugouts. such was the bat speed from Phil Salt. That was just a thick inside edge that ran all the way away for 4.
Yeah, and helpfully fielded and backed up by the man that's going to be carded to come in next for the Lancashire Lightning as well, which is another ominous sign, Liam Livingston.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier how many inside edges and outside edges Northampton that went straight to one of those fielders, and that one didn't. That's a bit of a slot one from Sando, but it was slower. Deceived Salt. 4 and 1's very rarely a bad thing. Phil Salt moves on to 70. It's a good start to the over, isn't it? From Lancashire, 5 off the first 2 balls. And how can it be a bad thing if it brings Josh Butler onto strike? He'll be looking at the leg side boundary, I think, because he can miss hit it comfortably over there. What's Sando got? Wide on the crease. He's got an in-swinging Yorker. What a delivery that was. What a delivery that was. It's like Sando's a machine, isn't it? He just plugs in swinging Yorker at the top of his mark.
Yeah, what's he got? 9 deliveries left. Feels like Sanderson takes 2. I'd say the Steelbacks are still behind at that stage, but that's kind of the way back in here. But these two have batted brilliantly together.
Oh, that was slower and it really didn't bounce and absolutely stuffed Josh Butler. In fact, he offered no shot at the end because he realised as soon as it pitched that he was in no position to do anything about it. Certainly the fact that it didn't bounce helped Sanderson, but I think even the most partial Lancashire support would say Northampton are due a little bit of luck, a little bit of running. 2 balls of the over to go. Are they just going to see these out, or are they going to try and take him down? They try to take him down, and it's a very thick inside edge. Great slower ball again from Sanderson. Completely stuffed Josh Butler for the 2nd time in succession. That ball could have gone anywhere. Could easily have gone back onto the stumps.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it at the end, but at the minute for the Steelbacks, it's kind of felt like a bit of an innings of what ifs, really, hasn't it?
It has, yeah, it's well said.
It's not been a million miles away from being brilliant, but these two have put on 100 for their partnership, and that is a great over, isn't it, by Ben Sanderson?
Brilliant. He looks so confident, doesn't he, Sando? It's great to see. There's been years when Sando's got, he's taken some stick some years in T20 cricket, but the more he stayed in the side and real clarity on the job that he's been asked to do, he's been able to do that because he knows where it's going, and he's very, very good. So 42 off 24. See us home. Dan's going to lead us off.
Yeah, 42 off 24. Where are you putting your 50p, Rowie?
I still think Lancashire are slightly ahead.
Yeah.
But it's narrow now.
Yeah, 116 run partnership of 83 deliveries between these two. That's going to help, isn't it? 6 more for Phil Salt. A slog sweep into the crowd. That is the longest part of the ground that you could possibly wish to target here this evening for Phil Salt. And he's put one into the crowd down there. And Pope goes for 6 off the first over.
And that is the problem, isn't it? It's 36, now 30, but it was 36 required.
No, they've gone double 6s again for Lloyd Pope. So it's just
one
6
big
off
over
the
is
first,
where I'm headed. Yeah, it's one big over.
It's going to go through the offside for just a single.
So yeah, before the over started, it was 36, and you think it's just one big over, really. An over of 20 really breaks the game Lancashire's way. And they've got 2 guys in who have put on 130 now, 129 between the 2 of them.
Yeah, 29 required. Well, it's not actually, sorry, 35 required. Reverse sweep gone through, picks up the wicket of Josh Butler. He goes for 54. Lloyd Pope gets his first wicket of the evening. The partnership is broken. Lancashire are 2 down. David Willey's calling all of his players in to celebrate that wicket, but there's more power to come yet.
It's a big moment in the game, isn't it? Josh Butler is walking off very slowly. I've got to say what I see. He's got 54 off 42 and played some great shots. As an innings, it wasn't his finest innings by a very long way. Taking that risk at that time in that over, I'm not sure that's the brightest bit of cricket that I've ever seen Josh Butler play.
Yeah, having picked up 7 off the first 3 deliveries, potentially not, but 54 of 42. He's taken it deep. Phil Salt is still there. He's on 83 of 54. And Liam Livingston has walked out at number 4 to join his England teammate in the middle. Played a few more games for Lancashire this summer, Liam Livingston. This will be his 4th, and he scored 92 runs so far at an average of 46. So he's had that finishing role in that successful period of the blast for Lancashire Lightning.
Nice googly back through the gate would be nice now. Lloyd Pope has got the wicket he deserved.
Certainly has. He's bowled very well, hasn't he? And I think, unless I've missed something, Rowie, and I mean completely missed it, but Lloyd Pope has only gone for 1-6 in this over, and this is the 4th ball of it. Somebody needs to get up to the scorers here and say that
Rob Bailey's on the mic. Has been on the radio mic to them. So
there's 6 runs back in credit here for the Steelbacks.
There it goes. You're right.
35 of 21, the equation. 143 for 2.
Scoreboard operator getting ahead of himself. Put a wicket up rather than a 6.
It's short, dragged down. Ravi Bopara fields it, but almost gets hit, doesn't he, rather than gets his hands in the way.
He couldn't get out of the way in time. We'll take the dot, though.
Certainly will. Crowd in behind Lloyd Pope now. Down the ground this time to safe save, who comes off the boundary edge. Just a single. Liam Livingston gets off the mark. Good over for the Steelbacks. 34 required off 19. The first ball went for 6. Phil Salt's targeting that.
Yeah.
He's just been staring intently down a deep backward square, hasn't he?
He has indeed.
He wants this to go one way. Doesn't get it. Takes the single on offer down to Ricardo Vasconcelos. So a good over for Lloyd Pope. 1 for 30 from his 4. And it's 33 required for Lancashire Lightning off 18 deliveries. First versus second in the North Group. Some bragging rights on offer.
Pope took his cap there at the end of the over, and he looked really disappointed. And that was about the first ball, because the first ball was a slot ball, and Phil Salt hit it about 125 metres for 6. After that, it was a brilliant over, and he's bowled very, very well tonight without a lot of luck. His figures won't reflect at all how well he's bowled.
Certainly won't. Ben Sanderson to finish early. This will be his 4th over. Steelbacks and David Willey again just acknowledging the fact that this needs to happen as early as possible.
There is a problem here, isn't there? The 2 batters just got together. Rob Bailey, the square leg umpire, is on the radio again to the scorers. I don't know exactly what the problem is, but play is not commencing or recommencing.
I'm pretty sure the score is right. 145 for 2. The anomaly, or the issue was that Lloyd Pope had been carded for 2 6s at the start of that previous over, which has been amended. And it's 33 required off 18. And that is brilliantly bowled by Sanderson. And the roar from the Steelback supporters acknowledges that.
Sando's slower balls have been absolutely fantastic throughout this whole competition, because nobody can hit them. You know, Phil Salt, one of the best in the game. He's got 78 runs before that ball off 54 balls. And he's nearly swung himself off his feet a few times because Sando's just absolutely doing him.
32 off 17.
David Willey in the key long on position. Seen some big catches been taken there over the years, Dan.
Wouldn't put him anywhere else. But great Yorker by Sanderson. They'll take the single.
Brilliant bowl.
McManus doesn't throw this time.
There you go.
It was backed up by David Willey, but he did hold on to that.
Beware the deflection.
Livingston moves to 2.
This is brilliant.
31 required from 16. That run rate climbing pretty quickly now.
It's nearly at 12s, isn't it?
Nearly at 12s. It did drop from 10s down to 8.8. It's now raced back up to 12s, but these 2 in the middle, they won't blink at that. Slower ball again. They're going to push for 2. I think they're only going to get 1. Justin Broad.
Good hands.
Lightning off the boundary. Well backed up by McManus and Zabe.
That ball was travelling there, and what Broad did very well, he got side onto it so he could get his throw away, which is a risky thing to do. I'm getting the long barrier out there, and it bobbled straight into the middle of his hands. Great skill from him.
148 for 2. 30 off 15, exactly 12s now required. Livingston back on strike. Gives himself a bit of room, takes the hand off the bat and goes all the way for 6. The short leg side boundary penalises the Steelbacks this time. Brings up the 150. Livingston moves to 8, and it's 24 required off 14.
I'm going to try and comment on that. I've no idea how he hits that for 6.
Well,
it was one-handed, wasn't it?
So hard. He's
taken
the top hand of the bat, has flown off the bat handle. He'll be one of those cricketers that has those grips on the top of the handle to act as a lot of people use it as a counterbalance. He'll use that as an anchor point to stop that happening.
That was remarkable. The bat speed was huge there, wasn't it?
Yeah, phenomenally good. It was a slow. There was no pace to work with from Ben Sanderson at all, wasn't there? Just didn't get the length right.
So what have we got? Okay, so we've got 14 balls remain, 24 required. 2 balls of this over remain. Sando's got to come back from that 6. I think he probably goes Yorker.
I think that would be his strongest option, wouldn't it? The crowd is still involved. They're still backing Ben Sanderson. Does go Yorker, digs it in, digs it out. Liam Livingston.
We'll take the 1.
Certainly will. 23 required from 13. So who's got overs left, Rowie? That's going to be the next headache for
Proctor.
Proctor's got. He will have one of them.
Scrimshaw.
And Scrimshaw will have the other. I suspect it'll be Scrimshaw first and Proctor second, you think?
I would go Proctor next, though.
Proctor next.
I would, yeah.
Final ball of Sanderson's final over. It's a low full toss. It's gone into the air this time. Vasconcelos underneath it, and it's taken. Phil Salt goes. The big wicket is taken for 80. Sanderson gets his man. They've hung in the air for an age this evening, and one has finally gone to hand for the Steelbacks, and they get the big wicket. 155 for 3, and it's 23 off 12.
Good catch that. Vasconcelos going to his left. He's got his hand on his heart there, showing that the heart rate did go up. And so many balls, it was one of the things that added to the difficulty of that catch, is that so many balls had fallen in holes and in gaps, and you just kind of thought, when we get one, we're probably going to spill it. It's one of those nights. A really good catch. And another very good over from Ben Sanderson. Yes, there was the 6 in it, but it was the only boundary. And now 2 a ball, basically, 23 required off 12 balls.
Well, I wonder if that wicket might have just changed the decision for David Willey, because it isn't going to be Luke Proctor from the David Capel end. It is going to be George Scrimshaw. He, so far, 2 overs, no maidens, none for 15 for Scrimshaw. And Ashton Turner joins Liam Livingston in the middle at number 5. So Livingston 9 off 5. The new man, Turner, will be at the non-striker's end, and there is a bit of a committee meeting down at the bowler's end. Northamptonshire have got time. The cut-off is 21:34, so they've got 7 minutes to get this over completed and get it right.
Yeah, there'll be David Willey in particular, and he's going back to have another chat. He will want to give George Scrimshaw absolute clarity and then go execute. I would have gone Proctor this over, because I think this is the over they're going to attack.
Yeah. Livingston on strike. Scrimshaw, that's gone straight up. I think that's going to be safe, isn't it? It's going to skip away, and it's going to be 4. 1 bounce 4 for Liam Livingston. A bit of fortune. Moves to 13. 19 required from 11.
Gee whiz. I mean, 4 off the first ball of the over is painful, isn't it? It's exactly where he was trying to bowl it. Top of the bails. Full gas, good delivery. Did Livingston for pace, but he swings so hard that the edge flew 2 bounce for 4. I think Northants they're due a bit. They've got 11 balls to get a few 50-50s back.
And Scrimshaw responds. Goes Yorker, falls, tumbles with an appeal. And we'll see what is signalled. It's going to be a leg bye for the Lightning. 18 off 10. 160 for 3. Turner, the new man on strike.
Coach is out of the dugout having a chat with the captain on the boundary.
don't see that very often, do you, in
certainly at this stage when
T20 cricket?
there's basically one more decision to make, which is who bowls the last over, and there's really only one bowler who can bowl it.
There's a message there from Lehman to Willie to Scrimshaw. As David Willie's come off the boundary to have that conversation with Darren Lehman and then pass that message on to George Scrimshaw. New man on strike. It's Ashton Turner. Goes for the ramp, goes straight up, does it? Is it McManus? It is. It's a wicket. Was it the conversation with Lehman? Who knows? But Scrimshaw's got his man. Turner goes without scoring. It's 160 for 4. And the Lightning require 18 from 9. And the Steelbacks have found a way here at the back end of this innings just to pick up these crucial wickets.
I had a horrible feeling that that was going to go off the edge and loop over the lot of them and go for 4. But it didn't. It went a bit further north than I thought, and that's the coming and going of Ashton Turner very quickly. Well bowled, George Scrimshaw. It was a very good Yorker that he bowled. Wow, it's tight, isn't it?
It certainly is. 12 and over is the rate. 18 off 9, 6 wickets in hand. Luke Wells comes out to the middle at number 6.
How's that reverse sweep from Josh Butler looking now?
Well, I would agree with you. I would agree. 237 runs so far this summer for Luke Wells. 250s as well. The big thing, Rowie, the big thing, yes, we can talk about the reverse sweep. 4 balls to go. How important could that run out of safe save be? With time left on the clock as well. Not a single run was added, was it, from those final 4 deliveries?
That's right.
So that is a little bit of credit in the bank for Lancashire, but they've got some work to do. The start of this over, the scores were level, 155 each. Steelbacks had lost a couple more wickets. At the end of this over, the Steelbacks were on 169, just for a point of reference. But Luke Wells on strike, crowd behind Scrimshaw. Good Yorker. They'll take the single. Ben Sanderson attacks that off that 30-yard circle.
This has been
Big
very,
round of
very good,
applause
hasn't it? Scrimshaw went for 4 off the first ball, but he did nothing wrong. It was a lucky top edge from Liam Livingston. He's bowled every ball exactly where he's wanted to bowl it. He's getting, he's getting, I hope, absolute clarity when he gets to the back of his mark from Ben Sanderson, David Willey, and Darren Lehman even had a go at one point as well. The 4 balls he's bowled have been exceptional. They now need more than 2 a ball. Everything other than a boundary, the run rate goes north.
Livingston back on strike. It is going to be a boundary. That is massive by Liam Livingston. The supporters down there running and ducking for cover.
That wasn't the ball that he was trying to bowl. It was too short. Livingston was sitting back, expecting it to be back of a length, but it was too short, sat up and was absolutely hammered. 11 needed, 7 to go. 6 is changed T20 games, don't they? And that one has certainly swung this game in favour of Lancashire.
It has indeed. Just sat in the pitch, didn't it? As you said, Livingston just waited for it, camped on the back foot. Dispatched it. 19 off 8 now. Going at the run rate required for the Lightning to be successful. 11 off 7. And it's gone through him. Wow. Livingston goes, middle stump out of the ground. Scrimshaw celebrates. The Steelbacks players celebrate. The crowd erupts. And we're going into a final over thriller as Luke Proctor takes the cap off and hands it to the umpire.
And Liam Livingston, as he walked off, looked over his shoulder to see what stump had been bowled. And he saw middle stump was about 10 yards back. I haven't seen a stump fly that far out of the ground at Northampton for many years. Well bowled, George Scrimshaw. Very good comeback. It's kind of even money now. Even money because Luke Wells has only faced 1 ball. The new batter who's going to be on the non-striker's end, which will be Chris Green, obviously hasn't faced at all yet. So could it be a tie? 11 off 6.
Could be 11 off 6. Again, how crucial could that run out? That decision, that conversation between Proctor and Zaid with 4 to go. 11 off 6. It's been topsy-turvy, hasn't it? It's felt for a long time that Lancashire were just in front, but we did caveat it, and it kind of felt like a nearly evening for the Steelbacks for a long part of it. they've just started to find a bit of that success that they've been looking for. I think there'll be Lancashire supporters, Northamptonshire supporters will both be a bit nervous here. Luke Proctor to start the final over. It's driven over the offside. Justin Broad will come around, and I think they'll come back for a pretty comfortable 2. They will. 9 or 5. Wells better than a number 6, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he definitely is. Though I'm particularly worried about the little fine leg glance from round the wicket. Luke Proctor, yeah, if he gets too straight, there's only George Scrimshaw at short fine leg to do anything about it.
Doesn't it? It's going to be a full toss. Is it going to be 6? Justin Broad's underneath it. It is 6. It's cleared him by a distance. That is a massive moment in this innings. Now the Lightning require 3 or 4. Proctor has missed the length by a distance there, hasn't he? And line as well, hasn't he?
All of that said, and he has, it's a poor delivery. Luke Proctor knows that. It was a heck of a strike.
You've still got to put it away, haven't you?
It's a heck of a strike. That can be a difficult ball to hit.
Well, we've not seen much success from a full toss through the course of the evening so far. That is as good of a shot as you will see. As you said, to a lot of people, you go, well, you just hit a full toss for 6. But
yeah,
actually,
no, absolutely, yeah.
That's a lot more skill involved in that than what might meet the eye. 3 or 4 then. Luke Proctor to Luke Wells. Yorker down the ground. Luke Wells has done it. He's gone all the way for 6. Back-to-back 6s for the Lancashire Lightning to beat the Northamptonshire Steelbacks by 5 wickets here at Wantage Road this evening. Luke Wells finishes 15 off 4. Chris Green hadn't faced a delivery. And the visitors from Lancashire will go equal points with the Northampton Steelbacks at the top of the North Group in 2025. That's been a good game of cricket. They'll nudge ahead,
won't they? They'll nudge ahead on net run rate. In fact, nudge ahead. They are significantly better on net run rate, so they will go top. It's I think you said before the end there, well before the end, that it might be a night of what ifs from a Northamptonshire perspective, and I think that's about right. I think they've not played badly. Let me say that. I think the previous 2 games, they've been very critical of how they've batted in particular in run chases, but tonight I think they did a lot of things very well. A top score of 32, though, doesn't get you to a number that you can be really confident about, but it was about par, and has been proved because it's been won with 2 6s.
Yeah.
In the last over to get over the line. But yeah, the 4 wickets in consecutive deliveries has hurt us. That said, I mean, that can happen when people are trying to swing the last few balls away. I think there's a lot of 50-50 balls here. If you look at the 2 halves of the game, I think the 2 teams are about level on skill and application and so on. I think Lancashire probably batted a little bit better than Northampton. Yeah. Northampton bowled a bit better than Lancashire did. So for me, it was about 50-50 between in terms of performance, but it seemed that every time Northampton edged a ball or got a one off the hip, it went straight to that man in the ring. Every time Lancashire did, it went for a boundary, and basically Phil Salt and Josh Butler couldn't find a fielder. They just kept landing it in gaps. There was one that Save another time might have caught off Ravi Bopara. That could have influenced the game when he got to it on the half volley. He didn't quite attack it initially. So that was perhaps a little bit of an error in the field there. But it was clothed, and you had to defend the boundary first of all. So ifs and buts. I think Northampton can feel a little bit hard done by overall, but these games often come down to fine margins, and tonight Northampton were just on the wrong end of a couple of bad bounces. But it was a better performance. They should take credit from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think from a neutral perspective, I think it was a very, very good game of T20 cricket. It was enthralling throughout, wasn't it? Neither team really looked like they got ahead of it. I thought Lancashire adapted to those conditions a bit earlier than what Northamptonshire did in that first power play. To lose 3 wickets, we had that message come through to say that you're successful, 67% of the time in a game of T20 cricket if you do pick up those 3 wickets in a power play. And it's gone on to add another statistic in that column, hasn't it? Lancashire have gone on, they've been successful. They did the early work. James Anderson with 2 wickets in the power play.
That's a heck of a finish by Luke Wells, by the way. I think he hit his 4th and 5th balls for 6. In fact, he hit his 3rd and 4th balls, both for 6. Both to the very long boundary. We know this is a long pocket down here, and he's cleared the boundary comfortably both times. And that takes a bit of doing. So, credit to him.
Certainly does. Fantastic game of cricket. Congratulations to Lancashire for the victory here at Wantage Road. Next up, Lancashire head back to Manchester tomorrow. They take on Derbyshire at Old Trafford. Northamptonshire have got a day off. We will be back on Sunday, double header actually on Sunday. So we've got the women's, the ladies teams in the morning, 11 o'clock, the men's teams in the afternoon against the Worcester Rapids. And we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us. Have a nice rest of your evening.